everyone, and welcome to No Excuses on VTWProductions.com and YouTube.com with your show hosts, Venurian.
And Volcel and no Aristeal. I presume that he has probably been detained at work. That's the usual issue, and he has been complaining lately that people keep, dropping shenanigans on him. But, we'll do our best in the meantime to provide you with content for the week.
As it passes.
But first of all, if you would like to get involved with the show, you can do so by sending us email at noexcusesvtw@gmail.com, or you can follow us on the Twitter at noexcusesvtw, or you can join us in our Discord chat, which is most easily accessed by going to vtwproductions.com and clicking on the show logo on any of our recent show posts, which will take you directly to our Discord channel where you can chat with the show hosts and other listeners and post, whatever.
Memes.
Mainly we post things that are outrageous for one reason or another.
Yes.
So yeah.
Okay. So that's that. This week on the stream, yes, I can, words good. This week on the stream, I'm playing a little bit of Raft, which is it's early access survival game, and I know a lot of people just kind of zoned out right when I said that.
Yeah, I think I posted a tweet to that effect from Razorfist. I don't know if anybody listening has ever watched any of Razorfist's videos. He does a mixture of comics and TV and movie and video game content, and is generally an angry heavy metal person about them.
Yes.
But he tweeted, "Why waste your time hating a race or gender when you can channel that hatred where it truly belongs? Early access zombie survival games."
Yes! So, not even early access zombie survival games anymore. AAA zombie survival games are becoming more and more prevalent. And stop it, because they're awful. Nobody wants zombies anymore.
Not only that, but every day that passes, that analogy I think I mentioned on the show about the games industry being a 5-foot stone wall that two monster trucks with 8-foot tires have managed to gradually climb over, and so everybody else drives their Ferrari into it at 100 kilometers an hour.
Yep.
Because they've seen that cars can get over it. So obviously...
Battle Royale,
that
anyone?
That analogy just seems more and more real to me with every passing day. Every time there's another announcement, and with E3 coming up very soon, I expect we're going to see a lot more of this sort of crap. Like, every time I see another announcement, it just seems like, I guess they're bandwagoning on that, and they're bandwagoning on that. And they aren't bothering to change anything. They're just bandwagoning and hope that they can somehow bottle the lightning that somebody else did, which there is zero precedent for anyone ever managing.
It never works. Ever. Unless you're Blizzard, I guess. But, yeah.
Well, I mean, the closest thing that you get to that, though, is Fortnite outdoing PUBG. And the reason for that was that PUBG was a trash heap of a game. Not to put too fine a point on it. Like, it was a barely completed, basically polish of a mod for another game. It was not a full-fledged game. Fortnite was a full-fledged game based on the same concept, much in the way that World of Warcraft bottled lightning by building on what other games since Meridian 59 had been doing, and making it actually visible to the player what they were supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do something very similar to something that already exists, but only if the thing that already exists is incomplete, visibly incomplete.
Yeah. And you still need to put enough of a spin on it to make it yours.
The interesting thing about the survival genre, though, is that the survival genre is sort of a tear down of a theme park of a sandbox MMO. Basically, It's about making it more incomplete. So there's really not a lot of room sandwiched between a classic sandbox MMO environment and a survival game. There's not really much room to jam your ore in with a more polished product. So, I don't know why everybody would be trying to do so. Eventually it's just going to end up being a huge waste of everybody's time.
There's a lot of potential in the genre, but nobody goes for it. Very few games even try to put a story or anything like that into their game. They don't make it single-player friendly. It's just meh.
Well, and that's the thing, though. In order for that game's potential to be expressed, it has to basically be tabletop. But as you move in the direction of tabletop, where you've actually got a game master who is making the world move forward independently of the player's actions, because you can't have a player drive everything, period, end. Because what happens in any game genre where players drive the action is that you'll have somebody who camps. That's just, whether literally or metaphorically, there'll be somebody who camps.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because gamers try and find the most efficient way to play.
Yeah.
You can't tell a story with efficiency. A story has to have dramatic flair. So that's why you need to have an agent who isn't the player to make a story move forward. But as you do that, you iterate closer to being an RPG.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm saying there's not a lot of space to jam your ore in.
No, that's right. But I will give a shout out to a game that released in the last week that actually manages that, and that's The Island. Oh, sorry, The Forest. Where, okay, it's survival and all zombies like that, but it also has an AI storyteller. So the world just does its own thing and you have to react to it. Or die. Whatever. So
that's the sort of direction I think they need to go, because all of these other ones, like the terminal point of all the classic survival games is people losing interest.
Yep.
And considering that the game is for a very niche sort of player, it doesn't take very long, because it's not about every person losing interest, it's about a critical mass of people losing interest.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. Anyway, so Raft. The idea is, instead of being, in a desert or in a forest or whatever, you're on a raft. That's it. You start off on a little raft like you've just seen. Fortunately, this ocean is full of garbage, like planks and bottles and all sorts of things, so you never really starve for early resources anyway. The idea is just make your raft bigger to go as far as you can. And ultimately there is an end, as I've been told, which is thoroughly disappointing at this point, because I don't think they've actually put the ending into the game properly. Thus, early access. Oh boy. So, I'll be playing a bit of that on the stream. It's an okay game. There's always something happening and something worth going on, even if it means it's just a shark chewing on your raft and pulling bits off which you just invested a whole pile of resources into building. Because sharks are dicks like that.
You would know. Your country's surrounded by them.
We are the shark capital of everywhere.
It's like, not only is everything in Australia attempting to kill you, but everything immediately outside Australia is trying to get in and kill the people there.
Yes. We are the land of death. Enjoy our spiders, folks. Alright. So yeah, this game, I've enjoyed it the little bit I've played so far. But it gets very frustrating when you've got to eat, 5 times a day, and a whole potato barely even satiates you. So, that's one of the things potatoes. This is one of the things that really annoys me about a lot of these survival games, is just the grind. And it's also one of the reasons I really like Subnautica, is because it does away with a lot of that grind in favour of exploration. So we'll probably actually come back to this discussion later on in the show, by the way.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, there's something we're going to get good and angry about, and it also means getting good and angry at Kotaku, which is, an old classic.
Yeah, although, it's not like they have much left. They're pretty much living on borrowed time at this point.
Yeah, they are. Weren't they sold off to some, Spanish soap opera company?
Yeah, I think the Univision or someone's got them now. But that's... I don't know why they bought out Gorka, because Gorka have become radioactive at this point. Like, nobody wants to have anything to do with them.
I don't know. Probably as a scapegoat for something later on. Oh boy. Anyway, week. So, what have I played this week? A whole lot of Fate Grand Order. Because there's a new event, which is incredibly silly, and also notoriously grindy.
Yes, indeed. The Journey to the West event has started, and I was immediately greeted with people whinging. Now, it started a lot earlier than it did in Japan.
Yes.
And the reason for that is speculated to be that there's a whole bunch of the people who, got in on the ground floor who have been whining incessantly about how far behind Japan we are.
Mm-hmm.
And that has basically torn the developers between, on one hand, wanting the game experience to be as similar as possible to the game experience had by Japanese players from launch, and on the other hand, they don't want their players to get bored and leave, because it's those hardcores that are whinging who are the ones who dump huge amounts of money into whaling.
Yes.
So, they're going to have to make a decision at some point on which particular angle they intend to back, but I'm not really sure where they will go. I don't actually want things to get earlier and earlier and earlier. That I need time between events. But somebody did some analysis of St. Court's distribution, and it seems to me, based on looking at the data, like this is a problem that the developers have created for themselves, because the distribution of St. Court's as measured by net summons is much, much more front-loaded in North America than it was in Japan.
Really?
So, yeah. So the players that came in around the time that I did and later are at a hefty disadvantage, and that gap will keep growing. So, yeah, they need to recalibrate their timing. I think they need to look carefully at their data for how they should do that. But so Journey to the West is widely held to be the grindiest event that has ever been put into Fate Grand Order. And they have backed it directly onto Rashomon, which is a raid event, and raid events are notoriously taxing on a person's stamina. Like their physical stamina, because you've just got to bash your face against the raid boss over and over.
Yep. Enjoy fighting that same creature over and over and over. Enjoy it. That's all you're going to get. So, Journey to the West is, Journey to the West running into Fate Grand Order, as you might expect. The player ends up going back into the Journey of the West story, because at this point it's just reasons. And that seems to be the driving force from a lot of the things that happen in this event, is just, reasons.
That's a driving force for a lot of things that happen in Fate Grand Order, period.
This is very true. This happens because
it would be funny, is one of the other reasons.
Yes, this happens just because reasons. Just reasons. The player ends up taking on the role of Sun Wukong, somehow. That just kind of happens.
Not explicitly, but you fulfill that role.
Yeah. Except instead of Sun Wukong being a joyful trickster, you're a deadpan snarker. Which suits the thing is that with the protagonist in Fate Grand Order, a lot of the time you're in the position of saying, I never asked for this. Yes, or you can outright just say, this is incredibly stupid.
A lot of the time, yes, you can. Although, just as often you end up participating in the stupidity.
Or in a couple of cases, causing it. The learning to play FGO comic is not too far removed from the truth. Let's face it.
Yeah, especially the parts involving Astolfo.
Yes. Those comics are creepy and all. Gudeo should probably be in jail by now.
Yes, probably.
Yes. So, the event is fairly straightforward. You go through the story of the West, except other servants keep popping up and are suddenly in the roles of other characters because reasons.
But they all appear to know.
Yeah, and every now and again they will drop character and just be themselves or make reference to them. Like, Mordred shows up at one point and instead of being Red Boy, she's intermittently referred to as Saber of Red, just cause.
Or Moboy.
Or Moboy.
At one point, I've actually seen an edit, a screen cap of Sanzang calling Mordred Moboy with All Might's face pasted over top of hers.
That's terrifying. So there's a whole bunch of servants you can get out of the pool, but this event, the story is really fun and really silly. But in order to unlock it, you got to grind.
Yeah, and it's a particularly abusive grind which comes in multiple layers as well. So basically, you can't spend AP to participate in the story events.
No.
You have to spend talismans, basically, tokens that you pick up as drops from grinding. So in order to move forward with the story, you've got to grind. And in order to increase your drop rate of the things that you need in order to participate in the story, you've got to grind so you can buy them from the shop using another currency, of which there are three additional separate currencies. And then once you've completed the story, the primary part of the story, you then unlock another set of grinds with a different currency again, which will allow you to participate in another set of missions. You grind for a different currency, and all of these different currencies allow you to get different things, and so on and so forth. So it's basically a multiple layer deep grind, and you basically are in the position of, according to most of the stuff that I've seen, you cannot clear the shop for this event unless you are a crazy person. So you're better off just targeting the things that are most important that you need to get from the shop and just going ham on those.
Gold XP, give them to me. I need them all.
So there's no... Well, for me, I'm probably going to try and go for reverse dragon scales, I think. But
yes.
There's no welfare character. There's no welfare servant from this event. Which means that you're only missing story if you don't get all the way through. And it seems like the first half of the story is pretty simple anyway. But this particular bifurcated model is one that, from what I've seen, becomes more and more common as the game goes along. They use it more and more often.
Please don't. That's bad.
I don't know if they do it the same way, because there's probably a reason that Journey to the West is regarded as the grindiest, even though people actually like Onigashima and Prisma Causeway and that. So this was sort of like the prototype for the new method of doing things, where you've got sort of a two-phase event, and we'll see that again in the summer event, where there's the first phase. The first phase unlocks Scathach Assassin as a temporary servant, and the second phase unlocks her as a permanent servant, and they have different servants on the gacha banner depending on what part you've got access to.
That's kind of neat.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So
I think the main reason that this event is so nasty is that it's a prototype.
Yeah. And
much in the way that we've seen them do the prototype for later raid events in Rashomon, because Rashomon is the grindiest of the raid events, because it's also a prototype.
But so yeah, at least it's a learning experience, and the story is fun enough. So yeah,
the story is absurd.
The story is completely idiotic.
Nothing has so far topped the absurdity of E Pluribus Unum for me yet. But yeah.
I haven't started on E Pluribus Unum yet, because the event started up, and I'm kind of grinding on that.
Yeah, I'm working on the event as well. I don't know how far I'll push it, because I really want to get back to the story, and I really want to get back to grinding other things as well, because I want to push my characters forward. Like, I can't lean on the raw power of my characters since I don't have any good ones. So, unlike Fern and Ari, who are both swimming in good characters.
I wouldn't say swimming, but I've got a few.
You don't seem to appreciate just how far ahead of the luck curve you are. Like, Ari's in like the 98th, 99th percentile for luck, but you're at least in like the 85th to 90th percentile.
Yeah, I did
numbers.
I did some gacha spins for the event, and I ended up pulling out Mordred and Xuan.
Yeah, so that places you way ahead of the curve.
Yeah,
on the statistics.
And neither of them are bad servants either, which is actually really nice.
I'm way behind the curve, like based on the amount of whatchamacallit, Saint Quartz that I've spent. I should have about 4 or 5 star servants by now, roughly speaking.
Yep, but you don't.
I've got 1,
and that was the charity servant at the start of the game.
No. I pulled Martha. Like
Oh,
I got
right.
Martha on a YOLO ticket.
That's right, you did too. I was just thinking,
I've never got anything good out of spinning the full gacha. That's never happened for me. But yeah, I don't know. I'm saving for Prisma Causeway, but I also I equally want to get Punch Saint, so I'll probably end up buying a bunch of Saint Quartz during the summer event.
Yeah. Everyone needs Saint Punchy.
Yeah, there's Martha Ruler for those who don't know the nicknames, because she is the saint of punching her Tarrasque. I feel bad for Tarrasque, really.
Well, was it in her normal Noble Phantasm? It's like basically just a glorified cannonball.
Well, yeah, she fires her normal Noble Phantasm. She fires Tarrasque at the opponent. In her Ruler Noble Phantasm, and according to the canon, it is more normal for Martha to be summoned as a ruler than as a rider. In the Ruler Noble Phantasm, she still fires Tarrasque at the opponent as a like a cannonball, but then proceeds to follow up and just repeatedly punch Tarrasque while Tarrasque is lying on top of the victim. So either way, Tarrasque doesn't really come out of it very happy.
No. Yeah, D&D got it wrong. Tarrasque is not the world-destroying evil. It is Martha's bitch.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yep. What else did I do this week? Still picking away at anime. I have to admit I got a bit slack with some of the shows, and yeah, I've pretty much dropped Magical Girl Ore because I'm just lost.
Weird.
It's extremely strange, and not strange in an incredibly amusing way, which other weird ones have like Classicaloid. It's just,
I think that you can burn yourself out on strange to some extent as well. Like,
you can.
I don't have the same patience for it nowadays that I used to, certainly. Like, one of my favorite anime way back when was Excel Saga. If Excel Saga came out today, I think I would hate it probably.
Yep.
Like, it's too weird. It's too, the pacing is too frenetic and nothing in it makes sense. And way back when, that was cool. And now I think that I've got too much on my plate.
Yeah. What I really could do with now I think is another season of Konosuba, but that's not going to happen yet.
Indeed.
I miss Konosuba.
There are quite a number of light novels in the Japanese though, so the material exists and it's a very popular anime. So it's just a matter of it getting made.
Yeah, I could always just go and get the manga, but you gads, I'm not even going to try and get manga shipped out here. What else did I do this week? Not much. Oh, right. So I scooped up Lords of the Fallen because it's like $5 on Steam at the moment. Boy.
You'll have to tell me what that is first.
Well, it's, and I know I'm going to really hate myself for saying this, it's Dark Souls. I just feel dirty just saying that. It's like the world's laziest comparison.
What is it the Dark Souls of, though?
It's just Dark Souls.
Has to be the Dark Souls of something.
Nope, this is the Dark Souls of it's just Dark Souls. The story is, I don't know, because it starts off halfway through. Apparently you're a prisoner who's been broken out of jail, but they don't show that bit and they just mention it. By some wizard, I guess. And you're in a castle and you need to go and punch some things. I mean, it's probably more story than Dark Souls actually has. At least it shows it up front, sort of. With these games, though, you're not really there for the story because it doesn't matter in the slightest. You're there for the gameplay. And in this case, the gameplay is very heavy. Extremely heavy. You tend to walk around for the most part, even as the rogue type starter set, in basically full plate, and your weapons are all kind of large and heavy and very, very weighty, which feels good until you start fighting things. Because then, it's just it takes forever to swing and.
Everything is the great sword.
Everything is the great sword.
I love the great sword.
Yeah, wait, great sword is fun in Monster Hunter because it's got a place. But when everything is the great sword,
Yeah, sometimes you don't want to use the greatsword. Sometimes you want to use something else.
Yes, that's right.
Maybe sometimes other people do.
Yeah. You get the choice when you start off the game to, pick your gear sets and pick your archetype. So you've got a choice between offense, defense, and kind of, rogue, stealthy. These don't matter, by the way. Doesn't matter in the slightest.
Well, what do they do when you pick them?
When you pick them, it gives you a small allocation of initial stats. That's it. It'll also tell you what your default magic tree is, but because you don't start with any magic, it doesn't matter. You can still spec into the other trees if you want it all. As for the gear, you start off with some gear, but by this point you can only buy the Game of the Year edition anyway, so the gear you pick is immediately replaced. And even if it wasn't, you get a new weapon maybe 5 minutes into the game, and you can find the other 2 armor sets in a hallway maybe 10 minutes in the game. So that doesn't matter.
I don't know. I really like class-based stuff in general, but I also really like not feeling insecure about not having access to things.
Yeah. So for that sort of mentality, that's great. But yeah, it just kind of eliminates the point. So because just why choose these things at the beginning? It doesn't matter. It changes nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just legacy stuff from an earlier plan of how they were going to do it or something.
Maybe.
And if you just dial back the importance of those things by increments, maybe they don't notice.
Yeah. So as for the fights are alright, I guess. There's a lot of monsters and enemies, though, that use stonking great shields. And those are really annoying, because when you're so slow to attack, you start your swing, the monster has plenty of time to stop whatever it's doing and just put its shield up. And it will do it every time. There is a mechanic in the game which means one of the earliest spells you get, regardless of what tree you're in, creates a doppelganger and just a static copy of yourself, which is supposed to draw the enemy's attention. It does not.
I have noticed that is pretty much the case in every game with a doppelganger spell.
Yeah. The thing is, because
they never work, ever.
Yeah, no, they don't. The thing is, because the enemies will have that big shield and they will throw it up the moment you start to swing up and attack, you're supposed to use this to distract them while you come at their back. But if the mechanic doesn't work properly, then yeah, you're just flailing at nothing. You're flailing at a giant impenetrable shield. Endlessly. Enjoy that. Because that's all this game is. I might keep picking at it if I'm feeling, suicidal, I guess.
Masochistic.
Yeah. Or if I really want a better Souls experience, I can just go play Bloodborne.
Yeah, that sort of really sort of renders the Souls thing redundant to me. It's like, well, I am Bloodborne. I can go play that.
I can go play Bloodborne.
Cool.
Yeah.
I didn't have a great experience with my short time in Dark Souls. There just doesn't really seem to be any point to go back to it because it was dull.
Yeah, Dark Souls mechanics, at least they've refined them each game, but to the point where going back to the old games is a really, really bad thing.
So what is the motivation for the existing of this game? Like, what do they claim that they do that makes them worthwhile?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I think they're trying to just ride on the rails of being a Souls clone. An actual Souls clone.
I really don't want that to be a thing.
It's a thing, and it's going to not stop being a thing, unfortunately. Please stop being a thing. So yeah, unfortunately, the one time we can actually say this game is actually like Dark Souls, it's not in a good way.
It's not even the Dark Souls of something, it's just Dark Souls.
It's just Dark Souls. It looks pretty, I'll give you that. Well, pretty as far as the Dark Souls game goes, I mean. Which means, brown and covered in crap. So, yeah, I might be actually still within the refund window. I might actually do a refund on it.
Now that's really an indictment against it, because you normally just keep all these games regardless.
If I sink $5 into a game and I don't care for it much, I might put it onto a wait and see pile, or I'll try it again later pile, because $5, it's just But I don't know. It's also probably a good reminder of really why I don't like Dark Souls all that much. Yeah. Alright, well that's really my week, I guess. I tried to read a book series, but which started interestingly enough until the author started virtual signaling all through it.
I don't understand why it's necessary. Like there are a lot of people in particularly libertarian and conservative circles who are calling for a pulp revival, just to re-establish pulp, because they just don't want to hear about anybody's politics anymore.
No,
and it just seems to infest so much of writing now that so many of the big publishing houses are on board with trying to be quote unquote woke, that you can barely escape it sometimes.
Yeah. So I'm not going to name the book series, because it would actually be quite enjoyable if it wasn't for this. And you start getting into the story and things are happening, and you start getting a good feel for the characters, and then virtual signal, you're out. Immersion gone.
Yeah.
And
that's one of the things, actually, as a brief aside, that has really impressed me about Dresden Files, is that they have blessedly managed to avoid that.
Yeah. Like, there's the old story of Jim Butcher being at a conference for feminists and whatnot, and he's sitting there and he has no idea why he's even there. He just says he writes strong female characters because he just writes about characters he finds are interesting.
He writes good female characters. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Nobody sets out to write a weak character, period, end. So they're either good at writing characters or they're not.
Yeah. So yeah, the thing is with this book in particular, it feels very shoehorned. Like, every character in the background who doesn't really impact anything is just kind of there for set dressing. They're black. It just doesn't matter what, they're explicitly stated as black. And it's just like, why mention that?
Stories where nobody ever mentions anybody's skin color.
Yeah, just leave that up to the reader's imagination. So it seems
the studies show that people, if you don't do that, people will naturally just imagine the details. Like, for people who they will just use like the rough distribution of people that they know and fill in the physical traits that way. Yeah.
Unless it's got some meaning or weight on the story, just leave it up to the reader. But no.
I mean, like, if it's part of a natural description, then sure, fine. But if you're just going out of your way to say, oh, and he's black every time a new character appears, then you're not really doing anybody any service there.
Yeah, like, it's aside in the main character cast, it's fine. Like, they're fairly diverse, and that's fine. And there's all these stories about weird relationships and homosexual relationships back in college, and a lot of that is just hand waved as being college, which is fine. It doesn't.
But most people don't want to think about their college days.
No. In this case, these characters tend to really, really have good, fond memories of their college days. Mostly. So, but that's fine. But I don't know. It's just so ham-fisted in these stories where it's kind of shoehorned in there. I'm expecting it's not so much on the author's part as it was the publisher.
I don't know. Like, if you want to be eligible for an award, you have to have that in there now.
Unfortunately, that is very true. And yeah, the author does make a joke about a right-wing pundit being, of course, evil.
Well, because they always are in every story written these days. Anybody who is remotely right of the far left is evil. But,
yeah. The fact that it was also a vampire cultist doesn't mean anything either.
It's really a problem with the way the awards have gone, because people still, for some reason, regard them as important. You need to have all that virtue signaling in there if you even want to be eligible. Like, the sorts of things that win literary awards now, a lot of them are straight up propaganda pieces, like not even pretending not to be.
Mm-hmm.
You want your foot in the door, you have to make sure that you telegraph your politics as loudly as possible and that it's the right sort. That's just the way it is now.
And sadly, that happens at the detriment of your story.
And a lot of people get won over by the siren song of these awards, particularly if there's one that that they're really keen on getting because they really respect somebody who's gotten it and they want one too, sort of thing. Like, I mean, it's sort of like it's happened to the Nobels and so on as well. Like the
especially Nobels, the Hugos.
Well, I mean, the Hugos aren't exactly high profile. I'm trying to talk about the most high profile.
Yeah,
where the Nobels have the same disease and that people will do particular research with the intention of getting a Nobel, and it distorts the science around this. It's famously one that believed that they had found evidence for the existence of the multiverse, which in my opinion is, contradictory, because if the multiverse exists, then definitionally there can't be evidence for it. Like, it's a nonsensical concept. But they had basically flown off the handle trying to prove this, and they'd gotten a bunch of data. And it just turned out that they were wrong. They were reading into the data what they wanted to see because they wanted the discovery so badly, because the Nobel had bent their way of doing science away from being scientific.
Mm-hmm. Actually, watching
because this award was hanging over them.
Yeah. I was actually watching an argument on the news actually the other day about climate change science. Yeah, the science doesn't matter. It's all about the politics and the awards.
Yeah, that's the big problem, right? Like it's a PR battle. It's not a scientific battle, because it's the PR battle is being won by the climate change as a disastrous event side, because they've been able to tar anybody who doesn't agree with their position as in the pay of big oil, regardless of whether or not they have any funding from anybody associated with the petrochemicals industry. The reality is, if you work in academia, if you work in the natural sciences or meteorological sciences or any other kind of sciences for that matter, and even the social sciences have been known to try and pull this crap off, if you can sell your project as being related to climate change, you will get funding.
Yeah.
Relative to people who don't. This is just a flat truth. Anybody who is in academia will confirm this.
Yeah.
And the fact is that once you do that, your study gets chalked up to be in support of climate change, because you have made climate change one of your base assumptions. Climate change is a thing. I am studying the effects of it on Y, even though you are usually using it just to get funding, and you basically put a paragraph in there about it relating to the climate change in order to justify your having done so. But the effect of that is when you see the review papers published showing the scientific consensus, which is not a real thing, on climate change, your paper, despite the fact that it doesn't matter whether or not you believe in climate change, it doesn't matter whether or not your results had anything to do with it, because you used that as your excuse to get funding, which everybody does, you support climate change now.
Yeah. Well, in this case,
you have this artificially constructed consensus.
Yeah. In this case, the argument on discussion, I suppose, came up because a university professor got sacked, not because he disagreed with climate change politics. It's because he dared suggest that maybe we should actually just apply peer review and scientific method to it.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason why the word of the year was voted to be post-truth.
Yes.
Because it's like, if you look at postmodernism is a philosophy where you can attack it with truth, because postmodernism asserts that it is a truth that there is no truth, right? Which means that you can attack it on rational grounds and say that's a paradox. You can't make the assertion that there is no truth, because your assertion can't be true under its own premise.
Yes.
But in the case of post-truth, it's not that there is no truth, it's that there might be truth, but you don't care.
Yes.
Oh, do we have an Aristotle?
Do we?
You do.
Oh, there he is. He's not dead.
Yeah, it's 30 minutes late. I'm not dead, I just got held up at work for 30 minutes later than I thought I'd be.
I knew that would be it.
Yeah. So that's, I guess I'll call my week at that. I don't really want to get too bogged down in those sorts of rants again. It's just, I'm kind of tired of having such a promising, good, and interesting story being ruined by people shoehorning their half-baked political opinions in there. Just stop.
No,
Righto. So I guess we'll move on to my week then.
Yes, please.
Unless, Ari, you've got some early shtick that you want to jam in here before we go back to doing weeks.
No, not this week. You can go ahead.
Right. Okay, so what did we do? Okay. During last week's show, I was pointlessly bashing my face against farming up Kulve Taroth, basically tracking rank.
Yep.
And after that, I had gotten to the point where Kulve Taroth was legit fightable. So I recruited Ari, and we bashed our faces against Kulve Taroth at length. And eventually, we managed to 2-man her down.
Mm-hmm.
And that always feels like an accomplishment when you regard the fact that Kulve Taroth is meant to be done by 4 groups of 4 people, and we 2-man her down.
Yeah.
Even if it took me all afternoon to do it.
Her something on her left hind leg in phase 3 one-shots even me and my stupid amounts of defense.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is.
It's just, it's so fast, I have no idea what it is. It just goes, boom, boom, dead.
Yeah.
That People on Fire, it was an experience.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it very much. I enjoyed it more than I would have done if we just got a bunch of randoms and done it easily, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually the way things go for me. That's just, I guess it's part of my character. But, yeah. I, overall, despite the fact that Kulve Taroth is a horrible, evil, fire-breathing monstrosity, because everything has to breathe fire for some reason, even though I really, really wish that they wouldn't breathe fire all the time.
Breathe something else for a change, please.
Yes, please, breathe something, anything else than fire. It's always fire. But yeah, I think I accidentally sold something I didn't want to. But it was an entertaining little fight, and I hope that they continue going in the imaginative vein as opposed to the not remotely imaginative vein, which, in all honesty, I don't expect that they will.
Yeah.
That's sort of what's sort of needling me right now is the simple reality that I don't think that they don't value the same things that I do. Because after that, this week we have seen the release of the new Elder Dragon, and it's Lunastra.
Yeah. It's just, gender flipped Teostra. Enjoy.
Yeah. Now, they are not the same. It would not be fair to say that they are the same. However, in my opinion, you fight them the same, more or lessly. Because they do so much of the same stuff. It's like fighting Rathian and Pink Rathian. They behave differently, and you've got to be wary of different things. But ultimately, they're going to try and punt you around the exact same way. Mm-hmm. It's not... It's very... I found the experience very frustrating. I mean, it's true that I hate Teostra. I hate Teostra more than any other monster in the game up until this point. And now I hate Lunastra more, because Lunastra is Teostra but worse.
Yes.
All of her attacks have a fatter hitbox. They hit more times. Her super move is basically the same as Supernova fundamentally, except that it hits twice. So if you manage to survive the first one, then you die in the second one. The whole thing, it just seems like I'm being trolled the entire time. I haven't done a full fight against Lunastra because I haven't had the balls to take on Lunastra and Teostra at the same time, which is what you've got to do. I want to bring somebody with me for that because I don't have any fire resist gear. I use Jules for that. But yeah, I'm not thrilled.
No.
To put it bluntly.
I'm not thrilled by
it. There are so many cool monsters in the Monster Hunter catalog. So many.
Yep.
And they put the laziest option in. I'm not amused. I know that they really want to keep reusing their skeletons rather than making new ones, but if they want their game to have real longevity, then they need to develop some new skeletons.
Mm-hmm.
They can't just keep dressing up the existing ones over and over and over again. It's going to get old. Like, they haven't put any of the monkeys in the game yet.
No. Laggy is supposed to be in the game. Or Lagiacrus is supposed to have a skeleton in the game, even though it was buggy in the pre-game. But, yeah, why not finish that?
Didn't they have, like, no announcement for this thing and just release it literally overnight?
Pretty much, yeah. It just kind of popped out of the woodwork.
For the reskinny stuff like that, it seems like they're not doing any announcement.
It is remodeled, though, like, because the head is different on a Lunastra, the horns are different. So they did do a little bit of modelling. So it was clearly they had something that had to have been put on the burner a little while ago, because somebody's got to find time to do that.
Yep.
So it's not literally they pallet swapped it and then jammed her in. They've got like new animations for the fire, like her fire looks radically different to the type of fire that they've used for Teostra. Like, there's work has definitely gone in here. It's just that the ends of that work have been to create something that is practically the same as something already in the game. So it feels like wasted effort to me. And that's really my biggest issue with it, is that it's like, oh, great, we've got another fire-breathing creature that's the same as the other fire-breathing creature in here, and now I've got to fight another fire-breathing creature. Spectacular. Like, there's all these cool things, like the soap dragon and the electric giant insects and stuff like that they've got in Monster Hunter's history that I'd love to see put in.
I would love to see Seltas again. I mean, gross abuse of a spouse. It's a giant beetle that basically takes the male, or uses the male as an artillery cannon, and then occasionally will just reach him off her back and eat him.
I see. That's not very civil.
But her armor set is Robot Samurai, and it's really cool.
Robot Samurai, huh?
Damn right.
But yeah, it's a flat out disappointment to me. That's how I see it. Like, there's so I'm not an old school Monster Hunter player. There's a ton of stuff I'd like to see, but instead, all I've got is this creature, which is like my most hated monster, turned up to 11. Like, my jimmies are so perturbed by this. Okay, so what coupled to this is the drastic power creep hooked into this one monster directly, to the point where everybody has to farm her.
Yes, you don't have any choice.
Her armor set is better. Period. End. Because it has more decoration slots than you can shake a stick at. Which, if you're trying to optimize your gear and make, mixed sets that have all the skills you want, and anybody who's trying to be optimal will do that. I don't, because I'm not trying to be optimal. You need these parts. You have to. You've got to now build your armor out of a mix of Kulve Taroth and Lunastra, because they have the stuff you need. And Lunastra's worse because of the sheer number of slots. Like, in Kulve Taroth's case, the skill selections were just very, very good. But in Lunastra's case, it's just, oh man, it's sockets for days.
Oh,
it's really.
I wondered why the skills were so terrible with her base skills on the set.
Her base skills aren't terrible. That's the thing. They're not terrible for a lot of builds that people want. But the reality is that it's still better to just use that hideous number of decoration slots.
Yeah, you can build pretty much anything with that.
But then the problem that spirals out from there is that her weapons, while they're not straight up better for every set, for every weapon, because some weapons, like the Greatsword, favors base damage way more strongly than it does pretty much anything else. So it's not so affected by this because these weapons are a bit but the simple fact is that they are weapons which have a skill on them. Nothing else does.
Yep.
So, like, you get the ability to basically you have a weapon with Leech if you build the rank 8 Nergigante Lunastra combo weapon. Like, it gives you an extra skill. That if it's a skill you want, then it frees up a slot on your armor, thus exacerbating them even more. So I don't like that they have tuned this this whole new monster, not only is the new monster dumb in my opinion, but they have tuned it to be like the central nexus of all improvements to your gear. And everything comes down to that. I don't like it. I really don't. And it hits me harder than it does the people who are just trying to optimize, because I don't want to optimize. I want to wear a particular gear set that I think looks good. Except now the power curve is going to be even further away from where I can stand.
Yep.
Because I can't improve my gear to meet the new requirements that will be. Because they're going to try and challenge these players with their mixed sets that are, loaded for bear. And I'm not going to be able to compete, period. Because my gear is not going to be as good as theirs. Because they haven't provided, opportunities to increase my power from any other angle than farming up this new monster. Everything comes down to farming Lunastra now. And I don't like fighting Lunastra. It's horrible. On the other hand, there have been a few things that I like. The front and center one, particularly because I'm still, grotting around in the land of never being able to get the tempered investigations I want. They have fixed the bug, because it turns out it was a bug.
Oh?
That was preventing people from getting tempered investigations from breaking parts of tempered monsters.
Oh!
When you got investigations, they were always the non-tempered version.
Yes. So that
turns out it was a bug and they fixed it.
Oh, good.
So now I can be a lot more confident that I'm going to, over the course of wearing out an investigation, get at least one replacement investigation for it.
Yes.
For breaking parts, which is a huge load off my mind. I still don't actually know how I'm supposed to get Elder Dragon investigations, because I didn't get any during the Kieran quest. So I'm not actually sure how I break into the next tier. It will be really, really dumb if I actually have to get somebody to bring me along. But
that would be dumb.
I have plenty of Elder Dragon ones.
I'm not talking. So. I know that I could get you to do it for me, but structurally, like as a new player, how am I supposed to figure out what I'm meant to do? You get tempered investigations from fighting the thing that's tempered. Like it's not very clear. Like at the moment, there are events up which would let me do it, but I'm not really keen on doing the events actually, because like one of the events this week requires you to fight tempered Nergigante, tempered Teostra, and tempered Lunastra all at the same time.
How about no?
That sounds hideous.
Yes.
I don't want any part of it. But and since you can break parts on monsters now, well, hey, and actually get investigation missions, that's something. But it just seems like it's sort of a bit of a rough deal there. But so that's fixed. And they've made further adjustments to a bunch of other things with the camera breaking your neck and stuff like that. And the big one is though that they're introducing Arch Tempered, which is a rank above Tempered. And they have decided that the best way to do that is to debut with Arch Tempered Kieran.
Just to ensure that everybody hates it immediately.
Because, Kieran's lightning didn't do enough damage before. It wasn't bad enough that it could kill you through maxed out lightning resist decorations and a thunderproof mantle. Like, this is brutal.
Yeah.
Like on the other hand, what that basically means is that since you can't get extra dead, you just fight in the same way. So
you can't possibly be more screwed than where you were before.
Get your raincoats.
I don't know what you actually get from killing him. I mean, obviously, I don't even have access to it because I don't even have access to tempered Elder Dragons.
You get access, I believe, to Gamma gear sets.
Yeah, I don't actually know what that entails.
Yeah.
At all.
I haven't looked too deep into it, unfortunately.
But yeah, that's also a thing. So they are intending on introducing a new rank above tempered, but I'm a bit concerned about the way that they do it, because if they do it in a sort of a hit and miss hodgepodge fashion, then what's going to basically happen is that the gear curve is just going to end up being a mess. Mm-hmm. And you'll end up with the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer, as the poor will cease to be able to compete in anything new that comes out, and the rich will be able to farm up all the best gear. It's a good thing that this game is in no way competitive, because everything would have already fallen apart by now. But yeah, I hope that they set in place a framework which will support a natural gear progression, rather than just introducing a new tier and then having everybody you are required to be a god to get here, but if you're not already a god, then you can't.
Go get guild scrub.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that getting good in this case often has a lot more to do with getting lucky on decoration drops.
You got to get that wyvern gem.
Like, the directions that I'm going with my armor set, what I plan to do, because I love the Valhazak armor. I think it looks really nice. And I'm trying to fill it out and maximize its strengths as much as possible. Something which I have singularly failed to do due to being unable to get any decent decoration drops. Like, I haven't gotten anything that I want for it yet. Nothing. Yeah. None of the drops. So, yeah, you need to be lucky in order to get good in this case. Because at a certain point, you would have to have gotten disproportionately good in order to get good without lucky drops. Like, you need to be a person who doesn't get hit, period, because you can't survive anything. So, yeah, it's a little bit rough, but there you have it.
Yeah.
I am glad, however, despite the fact that I think Lunastra is a pile of crap, that they are continuing to keep pushing out content for free.
Yes.
They haven't asked me to pay an extra cent yet. And I really do appreciate that, even if I hate Lunastra's guts. Maybe there are people who think fighting Lunastra is the most fun in the world. But, you know, at minimum, I will have to grind up an entire new set of gear if I want to do her solo, because she burned me to a crisp. But, yeah. Anyway, that was Monster Hunter. The next thing to talk about, what else did I do? I had a bunch of books that I'd ordered arrive, and I ended up sitting down yesterday and wasting an entire day reading again, or at least a good chunk of it. I sat down and read the 5th volume of Konosuba.
Yes.
And it was you know, mostly more of the same in a sense. Like, it was Kazuma being a total cad, generally speaking. Except in this case, he ended up being convinced that he was going through a sort of, you know, springtime of his youth phase where he was actually being popular with the ladies, which was
daft.
It turns true and untrue. And he got a lot more action that he didn't want than he expected. From quarters which he really, 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 really didn't want that attention. But yeah, it was an entertaining lark. It's basically much in the way Darkness had sort of a story where you go and you see her family and background and whatnot. This was Megumin's turn at that. So they basically go on a trip to the Crimson Magic Village, and you get a little bit more backstory about like where the Crimson Magic clan come from and how that ties into the rest of the backstory of the world in question, and how ultimately Aqua is responsible for everything bad that happens ever.
I thought we already knew that, though.
Well, yeah, but it just comes into sharper and sharper relief the more you find out about the way this world is structured, that ultimately it's Aqua's fault.
Yes.
But, like for instance, without spoiling anything directly, that whole affair with the Destroyer,
yep,
that horrible rampaging fortress, ultimately it becomes very, 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 very clear throughout this book that the whole reason that things exist can be traced back to Aqua.
Oh dear.
It's her fault.
It's her
fault.
fault.
Everything bad that happens in this world is her fault.
Oh no!
And of course, she doesn't admit to this or take responsibility for it in any way because she's Aqua. But yeah.
Oh boy.
It's quite fun in that sense, and the story manages to keep that sort of that very finely developed balance that you see going forward in the story. You can see it more clearly in the anime, since the anime is made from like the standpoint of the end of book 2 sort of thing, is where they started. So Kazuma had been developed to it by then, as I've mentioned before. The initial Kazuma is nothing like the Kazuma that from the anime. But he becomes that Kazuma over the course of writing, because clearly the writer was firming up his idea of what he wanted as protagonist, if you want to call him that, to be like.
I think Kazuma's closer to an antagonist at this point.
He's an anti-hero.
Yeah.
But he's not actually trying to be heroic most of the time, but he accomplishes heroic things regardless.
I suppose we just call him really what he is, an idiot.
Well, he's not, though. He's the cleverest person in the cast.
That is not a high claim.
But yeah, so they managed to walk that really nice edge balance where he is a total cad.
Mm.
He's unreliable, lazy, and a pervert. But they have those like really, really uncharacteristically sweet moments in the story where he does something which shows that he's actually a decent guy, and that he's basically all of the things that make him a bad person are him being a moody hormonal teenager. And that, you know, deep down he's got the core of a decent person there, albeit a lazy, perverted one. And like there's a few really, really good bits like that in there.
Nice.
Where he has the opportunity to really properly bond with Megumin, and that it sounds like, based on the sort of the blurb synopsis of the next book, that he throws all that clean out the window almost immediately in the next volume, which is the traditional approach as far as Kazuma is concerned. But I enjoyed the book. I think it will make a fun anime adaptation. However, as far as the anime adaptation goes, they will have to choose very carefully exactly how many episodes that they give it.
Oh.
Because the pacing is right in the book, but all of the animated content of Konosuba that we have currently is covered in 4 books. And this one book, I don't know that you could get 6 episodes out of it. 6 might be the right number, or it might not. I'm not really sure, because you spend the entire time pretty much in the Crimson Magic Village, and everybody there is as much of a misfit as Megumin is, more or less. And so a lot of jokes get done repeatedly, because that's what you do when you're in the village of idiots.
Yes.
Is that you see the same joke over and over again. So if you draw that out too long, it will get tiresome. But if you do it too little, you're going to compress the story too much, because there's a bunch of stuff happens there. Most of it involves Kazuma either attempting to molest somebody or getting molested. But it's not the most original plot line, since it rehashes a lot of similar things. Like the theme is basically the same as Darkness's little arc, and the way things boil down in the end is similar to the way the Destroyer arc went, and so on. But overall, I had a good time with it, simply because Konosuba is a fun lark. It just always is.
Yeah.
Because all the characters are such misfits, and the tradition in isekai is for them to be so OP, that I think it's almost impossible for me not to laugh. Like I sat there just laughing out loud quite a few times. So it was a good read. I now have like another 5 or 6 volumes of Log Horizon that want reading that also came with it, which is going to be a long road. But I think that as of volume 10 of Log Horizon, that will be all of the Log Horizon content that has been animated. So I'll be caught up to that. Although it's always interesting to read the books, because they've got a lot of supporting material in them. Like they've got maps and monster profiles and quote unquote concept art for various things and that sort of thing.
Maps.
Maps. Actually, don't mind. Don't mind good maps.
Like there's the volume which covers the training camp for the newbies, where they have to go into that dungeon. They've got a full map of that dungeon in the book,
nice,
showing you where all the directions are, where the monsters are, why the newbies go one direction and the high level ones go another direction, and the way the dungeon splits up like that, and so on. So yeah,
good maps are good.
Did I do anything else this week? I don't know that I did. It's a long weekend for me, and I actually got the long weekend, so I'm like deep in my loafing phase right now. Since I've got tomorrow off as well.
What is this long weekend?
So happy about that because it's been so long. I haven't had an actual public holiday, despite the fact that there have been a few. I haven't had any since Easter because they keep moving my day off to ensure that I don't get a day off.
Yeah, that's supposed to be stopping now, though, isn't it?
Yeah. The reason why I have this public holiday off is because they are attempting to, at least in the short term, normalise my schedule so that I always get 2 days off in a row when it's my weekend, as opposed to splitting them up all over the place. It's still likely to go into flux a few times, but they know that they're sort of pushing their luck with me, I think, is the reason why they're being so accommodating, because I'm still technically on a casual contract, but they really very, very, very muchly want to treat me like I'm a full employee.
Okay.
There's a whole bunch of sort of corporate stuff going on above, which basically means that they can't afford, under the current structure, to take on new official full contract full-timers, but they still need people to do that sort of level of work.
Mm-hmm.
So, because basically there's been this edict handed down from above that my outfit that I work for has to take over the market in New Zealand within X years.
Okay.
And presumably heads will roll at the CEO level if that's not delivered.
Right.
So they can't afford any kind of interruptions in the brutal long march that they're going to try and steal contracts from every other laboratory in the country.
That's going to make them popular.
Well, I mean, it's business.
Ultimately. It is business.
Everybody in the country is competing on contracts. Mm-hmm. And we've got, there's one outfit that is really old, has deep roots and a strong relationship to a lot of clients in New Zealand, and they're going to be one of the big competitors. And there's another one which has got a horrible reputation right now, but is backed by the government. And so they can, if they really want to, they can undercut pretty much anybody.
Yeah.
And then there's us, who are basically, we're able to import the best techniques and technology from Europe to get better turnaround times than anybody else, and that sort of thing. And also the one which is the most competitively aggressive. Like, they want to buy out the market, basically, in New Zealand. They want to be the dominant one, the leader. They want to be in position number one, and there is a directive from above, you must be in position one, where the other ones rest on their laurels because they're either already number one or backed by the government. So, So yeah, there's a sort of a very, it's a bit intense at the moment. They're bringing in a lot of new types of testing and that sort of thing. So yeah, they want to keep people happy as well as get a lot of work out of them. Like, we've had more staff surveys again and stuff to try and work out why the unhappy people are unhappy. And I mean, I can tell them it's because they pay like crap. That's the reason people are unhappy. People will let a lot of unhappiness go if they get paid decently.
That's very true.
Happiness only becomes more important than being paid decently once you're already financially comfortable. So I expect that they're hoping that it will turn out that is not the reason people are unhappy. And I've got news for you, mate. the bank account is probably what's holding the sway here. But
it usually is.
The net result for me, though, is that I have a more reliable schedule than I did. Although it may still change again, but it sounds like they're intending to keep me in the position of always having 2 days off in a row. And I said that Sunday is a non-negotiable day off for me, so I will have something approximating a weekend for the foreseeable future. And I'm quite happy about that because I'll be able to actually plan my free time if that can settle down. As opposed to getting a day here and a day there and basically not being able to do anything but sit down and play video because I didn't have time to plan anything else.
It's wonderful when you can first plan your free time.
What is this free time? It seems like an alien concept.
Fern's like goes 3 days without replying to me on Discord these days.
Yeah. Let's go hunt Cuvée Terra. Ari, I'm gonna try and get Vol. Okay, I'll hike around and wait.
Yeah.
Burn.
Both of us ended up waiting for you. You never came back. You disappeared.
Sorry about that. But yeah, family happened on that occasion.
Oh dear.
Oh boy.
It's okay. We just assume that you go poof because work drags you away sometimes.
Yep. That's usually the right assumption.
Anyway, did I do anything else on this week? I don't think that I really did. Like, I'm not as much one as Fern for randomly trying games. That's pretty much a habit hanging over from not being able to afford to.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that it's been reinforced by me getting burned by randomly trying closes last week and finding out that it was basically an incomprehensible mess. So
It's bad.
I don't know. I'll crawl out of my shell again eventually. But yeah, at the moment, like Monster Hunter is still keeping me in there. Like I don't know what the loading times are like for you guys. They're pretty long for me, but I think your ones are even longer. But
Yeah.
for me, they're not quite long enough to put me off. So I'm happy to keep sitting in there and playing it.
Depending on the map, the pro loads them 5 to 15 seconds faster.
Yeah, like I'm quite happy with the pro. Like I know I don't really use it to its capacity, but you know,
You get the Monster Hunter load screens.
I think that Monster Hunter loading faster is a pretty huge plus because it means that I get the game than I would otherwise. Like I don't get annoyed by I get more annoyed by Grand Orders load screens than I do by Monster Hunters. So
it's always
Run,
like, where are you, Ari? Hang on, I'm still loading.
Yeah, it's I really think that this game would not have stuck with me if it were in its older form though. Where in this one the environments are so gorgeously constructed and seamless.
Yep.
I think that's a real point in its favour. Like,
Yeah.
It is able to, because of that, is able to become my MMO substitute.
Yeah, the biggest gripe I had with the previous games, aside from being restricted to 3DS for a lot of the time and teeny weeny vision, is those loading screens.
PSP.
I still find things, particularly in the forests, that I hadn't seen before, like new paths through and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's great.
There's vines everywhere.
And sometimes
Little
it's
holes
like
in
a
the trees.
Shaladara, and it's horrible.
Yeah, that's
Fighting a
unpleasant.
Shaladara in the jungle is horrible.
It's
Absolutely
everything.
horrible.
Everything is terrible about that.
Yep.
I much prefer fighting him on Eldritch Recess because he doesn't have a super fire cave to go back to. He just goes to the top of the mountain, which is big open. You can actually place the whirlwinds. In the forest, there is a good chance you're going to get walled off from the dragon, and he's going to hit you where you just can't see him.
He's just going to put the whirlwind like up your left nostril. Like that's where it's going to go because there's nowhere else for it to go.
Yeah. I hate that monster.
That monster
one
is
my
such
Kustra.
a jerk.
I
can cruise in.
hate Kustra.
I can cruise in and kill Kusha, no problem. I don't have any real issue with Kusha other than the sheer amount of time it takes for me to kill her. Because I have to wander around waiting for her shield to go down so often. But we'll call that the end of my week.
Yep. So we should probably actually look at taking a break.
We should, I guess.
Because my bladder is about to burst.
Yeah,
Ooh, that's
we'll be back
unpleasant.
And we're back. And we were at the end of Boss Week when we went to a break.
But more importantly, we were refunding Lords of the Fallen.
Yeah, I was not here during your discussion of this game, unfortunately, and I did play it, and it is terrible.
It's so bad. Like, the best I can compare it to is you're playing Dark Souls, except you've just slowed the game down by about 25%.
I would go back and play Demon Souls again before you made me play Lords of the Fallen.
I would rather not. I'd rather not play either of them because they're both pretty awful.
But Demon Souls is the best game ever of all time, says the hardcore Dark Souls fan.
Those people
people actually say that?
Please tell me.
I've never heard anybody say that.
I've heard people say that. Those people have brain damage.
I think they do, yes. It was a prototype for Dark Souls.
Very nice, Ari.
Yeah, it's not very nice, but whatever.
They can get over it.
So yeah,
they dumb.
Yeah, Lords of the Fallen refunded because it's just horrible, really bad.
Yeah, if you told me you were trying that, I would have warned you way ahead of time. Don't waste your time with it. It's terrible. Run away.
Well, for $5, I was willing to take a look.
Yeah, get those $5 back.
I'm getting those $5 back. I'm going to spend those $5 on the Steam sale, which is probably coming up next week.
Alright, I actually have money this time.
Yeah.
If there's anything on Steam left that I want.
Except we can't buy games for each other because region locks.
Yeah. Which is this is basically reduced the number of Christmas and birthday presents that I get during the year to 0.
Yeah.
So, because the only things that I ever got were from you guys.
No more. Well, I still get the odd and occasional random present from someone because, hey, you should play this. I think the last one I actually got was from Zerathis. But
if it's on a fixed price sale, I can kick it over. But the chances of that happening are like 0.
Yeah, it just doesn't happen.
The only time I've seen that is with a few indie games and with the Devil May Cry 4 set that popped out like last Christmas.
Which is actually worth it. What did you get? I forget.
Romero's Magnum Opus.
Okay, that's why, because I deliberately forgot. I tried to play that game, but aside from the fact that it's still incredibly, 90s, no. Even for that era, when they were still experimenting with the genre, just no. Daikatana is one of the worst games I've ever looked at. And I've looked at a lot of, early access games. Actually, no. There are a lot worse than Daikatana now I think of it. Why am I making these things dark thoughts? Aries, do your week and save me from this.
Okay. So I have been pretty dang busy this week. But I still managed to squeeze in my evenings and play some Vidya.
Yay.
So Dragon's Crown was a fairly short game. But I managed to shoot through one difficulty level of that. And that was an adventure, I'll say. Because it got to the point where it was just not reasonable to do some bosses solo. I did as many as I could, and it just got completely unreasonable at some point. Like, doing the Red Dragon solo is a death wish. You're going to be spending like 50k in rezzing yourself if you try to do that solo.
That sounds unpleasant.
Yes, that is very unpleasant. That's about 20 dungeons worth of saving. But yeah. So I was getting very, very, very frustrated with people, and it took until like Friday or Thursday for me to finally bump into some people and make some friends who were not just completely pants on head retarded. Quote Yahtzee. Have to put the 2 quote in there because it has the R word.
Oh dear.
But yeah. So like the crowning example of the stupids I was getting ripped with was a level 255 fighter who I am convinced was literally just joining random games and AFKing them or doing the minimum amount of work not to get kicked so that he could boost his level.
Ew.
Because I got his bones when he died against Medusa, who was one of the easier bosses. And his bones had 3 broken pieces of gear on them, and he was barely keeping up with my Amazon, who was only like level 40 at the time.
At that level, he should have been blitzing you.
He should have been. And I was completely just gobsmacked with how little damage he was doing. I'm like, I know the Amazon has an advantage on Medusa because she doesn't move very much, but, like, what are you doing? Level 40
nothing.
to 255. Yeah, it turns out a whole lot of nothing is what he was doing. There are a lot of spell attacks in that fight, so it's hard to see what's going on. Snakes everywhere.
You're playing Amazon, so you're a flying butt from the sky.
Yeah, I'm busy doing cartwheels in the air, spinning on her face.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, I've been chain playing my Amazon in that game, and I got her to level 56, I think, at the end of the week. But, yeah, I finished the first difficulty, and the last boss was a big ancient dragon who you cannot spend money to revive it. You get your 2 extra lives, and that's it. If you run out of lives on that boss, you dead for good. You locked out of the fight.
Mm-hmm.
And if your whole party wipes, that's it. A big game over screen pops up that's unique to that boss, and you get kicked back to the tavern. So, yeah, that was an experience. Finding a group that could actually, knows the fight and do the mechanics was very difficult. And what I wound up doing was just recruiting a whole bunch of sorceresses in the list that had make food as a skill that they had listed.
Okay.
What?
So that they would just spam make food, because it's just like one of the buttons the sorceress always pushes. It's the one button every one of them seems to at least be aware of. And if they have make food in their list, they're going to push it. So I got 3 sorceresses with make food, and basically just had them sit there and do whatever sorceresses do, spawn tornadoes or some crap to do damage, and just push the make food button and use that to stay alive while the dragon's doing damage to me, and just keep trying to kill it before it takes too long.
You were trying to stage your own cooking out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, killed the dragon, unlocked hard mode, got into hard mode, chewed my way through the get the talismans bit, which is do the secondary path in all the levels, which are effectively brand new levels. And I'm up to the second to last one. And then, I'm at the last one, and then I have to do the Age of Dragon again, and I'll unlock whatever's after hard mode. So, it's been fun. I finally got to play with Sleep a little this morning before work. He got off his butt, so I got back on my elf, and we did some runs around, did some quests, and that was fun. But, yeah. It's a fun game. If you can finally make friends, is the moral of the story in Dragon. Terrible, horrible, awful experience with randos. They will drag your camera all over the place. They will mess up you trying to put in runes. They will jack stuff on the ground. They will take all the food. They don't care about you. It's a horrible experience. Just don't do it with randos. Take NPCs and turn join off instead. You'll have a better time. But if you can manage to luck out and make some friends, it's actually a lot of fun to play with them. Because they'll actually hop up and down in front of food if you need health and stuff, and act like normal human beings and not monsters. And they won't drag the camera all over the dang place. They'll realize when you're still waiting on your axe to recharge and not drag the screen away from your axe so that you're barehanded the entire room.
Is that actually a thing they do?
Yes, so the Amazon, when she does a lot of her heavier moves with the axe will get implanted in the ground and you can't use it for about 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And randos will just not care that your axe is in the ground and drag the screen past the axe. And keep trying to dash to the right. And if there's 2 people dashing to the right and you trying to pull the screen back to your axe, they're going to win.
Your Jimmies, they seem perturbed.
Yes, they are. There are many scenarios with randos in this game that just made me pull my hair out. Sleep accidentally left turn join on for randos on for one quest, and it was a nightmare with them dragging the screen all over the place.
You can't just kick them, I suppose.
See, the thing with co-op is that the name implies that you're supposed to cooperate.
Yes.
Yeah, no. Randos and Dragon's Crown are some of the worst video game players I've ever seen in my life.
But you played World of Warcraft.
You did.
Randos and Dragon's Crown are some of the worst players I've seen in my life.
Wow.
It is baffling to me how stupid these players are.
Oh dear.
I have consistently, every time I've done Medusa, who has her eyes flash for 4 seconds, and then she does a big, like, AoE light blast that if you're looking at her petrifies you.
4 seconds.
Unless somebody was already moving away from her when the blast goes off, they will get petrified. Randos will always get petrified, including Mr. 200 level 55, which is how he died and I got his bones and saw what his gear was like.
Why would you deliberately be a burden?
Because he's a jackwaffle.
Because you want social welfare.
Yeah, he's probably a libtard.
Wow, that went dark. Okay.
This is it's just emblematic of how rustled his jimmies are.
Yep, it is.
Yeah, not happy about that, but playing with the friends I made in it eventually and playing with Sleep, that was fun. So I will continue to play when they're online from now on.
Yeah, I join you, but it's still stupidly expensive in the Southern Hemisphere because reasons.
Yeah. But yeah. As a game, I do love the game, though, so I do recommend it to people if you like the dungeon crawler 2D beat-em-up game. The classes are all unique enough where you can play a very different game every time you pick up a new class.
Neat.
And it's just a lot of fun. The bosses are interesting and all that fun stuff. So yeah. Sounds interesting, give it a try, but you're going to have to suffer through rando hell.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Other than that, I did not have enough time to do much more in Monster Hunter. I wanted to get on to do Lunastra, because unlike Ball, I actually like fighting Teo.
You have fire resist sets.
I know.
My preferred set is weak against fire.
Yes, I believe this was a discussion we had when you were first thinking about getting it. But yes, I went ham with fire resist as soon as I got to in-game because of how many things shoot fire at you, and they just continue to add more fire.
Yeah, they're not really shying away from the fire anytime soon.
It's just you will always need fire resist. So I have something like 40-something fire resist.
That's a lot of fire.
It was actually enough to survive the Flores lava attack that Kuvetera throws with a sliver of health for like half its duration. That's how much fire resist I have.
I think I'm seeing about 25 last I looked for my basic set.
Yeah, I'm like, with the buff, I'm like 40, 45.
I'm negative 10. I think I still have one fire resist jewel in my gear at present, even though I'm not fighting it.
Yeah, the Valazak set's minus 15 fire.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I do not have the same problem fighting fire monsters that Vol does. So Angie Baby and Teostra.
Well, I mean, a lot of my complaints about Lunastra are not so much just that, well, she uses fire, although I do complain about that a lot. It's that she uses fire in a way which is the same as Teostra, but more obnoxious. Like, it's all of the annoying things Teostra does, except now they're way, way harder to dodge because they hit everything.
Yes, multiple times.
Which I'm actually looking forward to, because I did enjoy fighting Teostra at first, but he became kind of routine after a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I got really bored because you need to farm Teostra for like everything.
Yes, you do.
A ton of crap uses Teostra gems. So I fought Teostra to death. So getting a harder version of Teo that can maybe get closer to that feeling of when I first fought him, I'm looking forward to. But I just have not had the time to boot up Monster Hunter World.
This makes me angry because it can kill me through a fireproof mantle.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, she's not a very nice thing.
She's a nasty customer.
Yes, indeed.
And you have to fight her at the same time as her mate.
Yep, they do their big yin-yang combo explosion attack.
Their wombo combo?
Instant kill combo.
Yeah. It's like Supernova, except souped up to 11.
Yeah, I've heard the answer to that. Just, if you are not near them, your might survive if you turn around and sprint the other direction for the entire time it's charging.
Yeah, just run like hell. It's a waste
of time trying to Superman through it, because even if you Superman, you're probably still too close.
Yeah. The correct answer is turn and run, from what I've heard.
Oh, no. Or Flash Bomb, I suppose. If you can time it right.
Maybe.
You can Flash Bomb Teo out when he's doing his supernova.
Yeah, and then he'll go straight back into it.
Yeah, usually in short order he does.
Yeah, like I've stopped his supernova by cutting his tail off before, but he just goes into it again eventually.
Yeah,
it's not. It doesn't knock him out of his phase where he's gearing up for it.
Yeah, it's still charged.
Yeah, the explosion from the supernova is the end of his fiery phase.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, but I just haven't had the time. I've been so busy this week. I'm trying to get set up because my lower work period starts presumably on Monday, unless something stupid happens, which it always can at the last minute.
Stupid seems to happen a lot to you.
Yeah, for this evening, I walked out on people because I'm tired of them pulling this crap of, oh, we just need you for a few minutes, and it turning into an hour-long excursion.
There is no such thing as needing someone for a few minutes.
Yeah, like, no,
Ever.
None of that crap. I told them, I've got to go, and just got up and left. And said, I have arrangements tonight that I've already made with other people. You guys are butting into those. This is supposed to be a day off anyway that I'm stopping to help y'all at work anyway for extra pay. So shut up, I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say shut up. I said it politely. But I basically said peace and just bounced. So that's why I was 30 minutes late.
Yep.
So my phone has messages out the wazoo about what I was doing and where I am. Because I did bounce pretty quickly and not explain what I had to do. I just told them I had prior arrangements tonight. So they can.
Really none of their business.
Themselves. Yeah, they don't own the monopoly on my life like they like to think they do.
Right.
So
what's next?
Why do they always wait till the middle of the night before they ask you to do things?
Because that's when some of the people are in the office. I have no idea why we have the setup we do. And
it sounds like complete nonsense to me.
To be fair, all of us got there about 2 o'clock in the afternoon today. And I was just going to be there until like 7. And then I had to stay a bit longer because I got behind on my workflow, which was fine. But I was going to come home at about 9. And then somebody's like, can you come help me for a minute? And then I realize it's already 10:30 and I got to get back because the show starts at 10:30. I'm like, look, guys, I got to go like now. And so I closed up whatever I was doing and got out of there and just ran back home.
Whatever happened to the old 9 to 5?
Yeah, no. None of us apparently have a job like that. Well,
no.
I don't know anybody who does. Does that actually happen? Do people get to have that?
No.
My dad has that. Though his is more like 8 to 11 because he's a mad person. Boy's a workaholic.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what else I actually got to do this week, but it wasn't that much. I've been playing through a little bit of Grand Order, but there's nothing really to talk about.
We've already talked about that pretty much as we can with the event.
Yeah, I'm not doing the event. There's no point in me doing the event with the API.
Don't do the event. It will take a huge amount of AP and it won't pay off.
It is so grindy.
Is not good.
No. Yeah, it's... With the API, I've got a cap of 62. It's not even worth attempting. So, yeah. I actually need to, at some point today, get some Saber Gucci's for my Ascension material. So I need to probably be doing that now. Otherwise, I won't be able to ascend my my what's-her-face, my Shiki.
Yeah. I have to admit, though, the gacha was for a change... Well, might change usually anyway. Unusually kind to me this week.
Wasn't to me.
No, it definitely wasn't to you, but I managed to pull out Mordred and Schwan. So, yeah, I got the event caster.
Yeah, I got the event Lancer on the rando 10 pull I did.
Yep.
So, yeah.
He's so doom and gloom.
Yeah, I don't like him.
Nah. I didn't really
he's a pretty light-hearted guy.
I didn't much like to play with him in what was it now? Apocrypha. Not Apocrypha. Extella. Yeah, he just didn't have a good flow in that game.
Well, his flow is designed to echo the type of martial arts that individual used in life, which is a very sort of square. You move through a kata through very fixed positions, and his combat style is sort of like designed to echo that. So you have a lot of charge moves, and you move in a very sort of stately fashion from position to position as you move along. But when executed correctly, nothing can get near you, basically.
That's really cool. Whereas opposed to a lot of other characters where it's button bashing, wee!
No, you've got to take a very measured pace if you're using him.
Yeah.
The button bashing approach just doesn't work for him at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't have that much this week. I've been really busy.
All right.
This is what it's been. So I feel like there's something I'm forgetting, but if it's important enough, I'll bring it up later. I don't think it is, though.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. So, there's a little bit of news this week. A lot of it's holding off until E3, which starts next week. So, our next week's show is, going to be the first bits of E3, because the way it's actually planned at the E3 is the broad amount of it is actually over before the event actually starts now.
Everybody's trying to steal a march on everybody else. It's just going to get... eventually, it's going to be like at Christmas of the previous year.
Ugh. At this rate, yeah. So we've got EA actually jumping the gun. We'll be able to talk about EA's presser on the show next week, and then a lot of it, I think, we'll have to wait till the week after. But we'll figure it out. But, oh boy. We got some preemptive stuff coming out, and people jumping ahead of the wagon to make their announcements. Who wants to pick the first article? Well, actually, let's not talk about new announcements. Let's talk about people being scummy first.
Okay.
Which particular kind of scumminess are we talking here?
Oh, the scummiest of the scummy. Star Citizen.
Yep. They are the lowest of the low.
Oh my, yes. So, I can't believe this. There is a new pack available for people to buy in Star Citizen. It is
because they haven't received enough crowdfunding money yet.
Yes. So it's only visible, and I've actually confirmed this, I've gone in and checked it. You cannot even see this pack on their website unless you've already spent $1,000 on imaginary spaceships.
On JPEGs.
On JPEGs. It is called the Legatus Pack. It costs $27,000. And it gets you most of the ships in the game. Not all of them, just most of them.
It's like they're behind on the rent for their office, aren't they?
How?
What's happening here?
They have all the money in the world. What are they
keep
doing?
Spending it on stupid things like their space door.
And voice actors.
The space store is the one that most people really like to point to because it's so absurd. Have you seen that thing?
That I haven't actually, because I'm still kind of reeling over the stupidity of the fully captured face capture. Remember that stupidity.
I prefer not to think about how terrible these human beings are.
It's just come on, please make the game, then add the boondoggles.
Let's see. Space door. Here we go. I just searched for space door. Okay, so this is the thing that they had. This is the thing they had installed in their office.
Do I dare look at this? Do I even dare?
Bad juju.
Yep. That's pretty much what I thought.
Like that thing contributes. If it was free, it would contribute nothing to the production of the game.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it probably cost a lot to have that fitted.
Just why? Why do this?
Because they're terrible people.
It's
their money.
It's a full. They've got it set up as like a full-fledged automatic door done in sci-fi style, where it sort of slides.
Makes a pleasing hiss noise.
Yeah, it's the entire thing is just a complete waste of money. And apparently, it costs several tens of thousands to get installed.
Good grief!
That's the base level of financial acumen we're talking here.
Yeah, just. At this point, I'm convinced that Star Citizen is never going to come out in any sort of form. Or if it does come out, it's going to be a massive disappointment.
I've been telling you this since we went to see their presentation on it at PAX.
The one where we were hoping they'd talk about, actual Star Citizen and spent most of it talking about Wing Commander.
They spent most of their time talking about Wing Commander, and I fell asleep.
Yes, you did.
Because it was so boring.
Yes. So, yeah, we've known it for a long time, but good grief, they just keep sinking to new depths. So, yes, $27,000 for 117 ships.
The thing is, though, somebody's going to pay that.
Somebody is.
These people like cultists, they don't seem to understand that they're throwing thousands of dollars into a black hole, and that black hole is not even really promising them anything for it. Like they aren't sincerely claiming that they're going to produce a game anymore. Like they've lapsed into the sort of the minimum deliverable product language a long time ago.
Oh yeah. Now they're just kind of cruising away on selling stuff that doesn't actually exist, and probably never will.
It's quite absurd that people are still so many of them are so convinced that it's just just about there. It's just a few days away. We're going to see. I don't know what it is that they put in those videos that they show them in order to get them to be convinced that
subliminal
actually. Well, there must be. There's certainly not content.
Nope. It's like, cool. It's pretty spaceships, but we saw pretty spaceships years ago. What have you done in the meantime?
Yeah, this is sunk cost fallacy at its worst. I've already donated like $50 bajillion. Surely it's coming soon.
What is the? Oh, here it is. As of January, Star Citizen had raised $35 million.
I think that's the amount through people giving them money. They probably have other backers as well, which aren't like other financial backers. But it's the whole thing. As we've said many times before, is a scam. It's a scam. It has all of the hallmarks of a scam. They keep changing the licensing agreement that you have to agree to when you be part of their beta to show that it's a scam. Like you can, if you pass out the language, it might as well say, "Ha, we're not responsible for anything, and you guys are all getting scammed." Like,
yep. Also, that money, say goodbye to it. It ain't coming back.
Yeah. Yeah, and they've basically arranged things such that they are under no obligation to refund on request, save the sort of the minimum required to save face PR wise.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, they have got everything stitched up exactly the way they want it to be able to ride this, and they could keep doing it for years to come because nobody seems interested and they haven't produced anything. So they could just keep going with this. They could keep going on and on. There's nothing to stop them.
Yep, nothing to stop them at all.
Their motto is, "There's a sucker born every minute."
In space. Right, so that's disappointing and terrible. Who wants to pick the next article?
I went and moved the window because I was posting pictures of a space door. Well, we can talk about the furore, as it were, regarding the announcement of a new Fallout product.
The internet doing an internet, in other words.
Yeah, and basically the people who are Fallout fans, most of them seem to have roughly the same sort of level of common sense as people who are Star Citizen fans.
Maybe not quite that bad, but yeah. So we got the announcement.
Most of them haven't spent quite that much money on it. But
No. So we got the announcement of Fallout 76. It's probably going to be in West Virginia, and it's set as a prequel to just about every other game in Fallout that exists. Now, that's all we know officially. Unofficially, the internet happened.
Yeah, and everybody has their own theory, which they are now spreading around as truth.
Yeah. So it starts off with Jason Schreier of Kotaku fame. And I know a lot of you just went... Infamy, yeah. I know a lot of people who are listening just rolled their eyes. I can hear it from here. It was glorious.
That was probably mine rolling.
Yeah, see? So he's announced that he got some inside information, and this game is going to be a Rust clone.
I mean, keep in mind that the thing which earned Kotaku its reputation as being a terrible games rag was the fact that they never checked on any rumours.
Yeah, but yeah, Schreier's been right a few times in the past, but he's also been wrong a few times in the past, so meh.
There's a picture I sent you, Fern, regarding this topic. I have to find it again.
Yes, where did that go? Oh, it's right here.
Yes, I got it. I'll post it.
Yeah, throw it up in the chat.
In the live show chat, it's just an old meme where Fallout's ahead. Open the gate. It's not a Fallout. It's online. Close the gate. Wait, it might be co-op. Open the gate a little.
Yeah. So
it's that old meme. And it's a very accurate depiction of what's going on the internet right now.
Yeah. Everyone's kind of making their own assumptions and then screaming about whatever those assumptions might be as the end of Fallout. This is not our Fallout, which is actually a hashtag, by the way, now.
But how do they know?
They don't.
They know it's not their Fallout.
They don't.
How are they
no information
themselves that they do know?
This has been so funny. It's a whole bunch of people claiming they know what this game's about when there's no information on it anywhere.
Yep. So you had Schreier come out and say it's a Rust clone. If you're looking for a single-player RPG experience, you're going to be disappointed. I'm guessing someone over at Bethesda really got up him about this because that tweet has now been redacted. And now it's in a new tweet that's saying that he was wrong, but if you're expecting the classic RPG, you're going to be surprised.
Well, number one, Schreier's wrong about everything because he's bad.
Yes.
He's dumb and bad. Number two, this is the line that the games media has always taken, that single player is dead and nobody likes single player games.
Yes.
So they have an agenda to say this as well.
Despite the fact that Bethesda is the headliner company who made that Save the Single Player video.
Number three, he's dumb and bad. It's such a crucial point that I have to say it twice.
Yes.
He is dumb and bad. There's really no two ways about it. Nothing he says is worth the breath that it takes to repeat it. So,
he is but dumb. Good grief, I need to go watch Kung Pao again. So, yeah, we've got rumours flying around. It's everything from, a straight-up Rust clone survival game to isometric RPG to something completely different to, moon monkeys from Mars.
You can get the real news about the game right here on No Excuses. The real news is nobody knows.
No news. Just cool your butts and wait for E3.
Best reporting since 2018. We give you the truth. Nobody knows.
So yeah, there's some situations in this game which I'd be quite happy. I wouldn't mind the classic isometric RPG. That would be all right. They could do survival if they stick to what Bethesda does best, which is basically an open world filled with stuff that doesn't work half the time.
Bethesda's comprehension of how to make the most of a good thing is roughly as good as Capcom's.
Yeah. There are some nasty rumours flying around as well, which I'm not putting a whole lot of credence in. They're going to try and make a push to get rid of external mods, which is, basic suicide to them.
That's also standard corporate evil. Sure, it's suicide, but people said that about Call of Duty. Going to matchmaking rather than standalone servers.
But how many news articles do you see nowadays that aren't that are Bethesda related that don't have to do with mods or re-releasing Skyrim?
None, because the Creation Club is just terrible.
Like, you only see stuff related to fan passion projects related to any Bethesda project in the news nowadays. When they're not...
I've not seen any of those get covered in years.
It's been a while. The big fan projects do exist, but because there's no real big Elder Scrolls game to push them, there's Fallout 4, but no one's really as keen on Fallout 4.
Nobody likes Fallout 4.
Yeah. So, yeah. We shall see. Like, I don't expect them to do something really, really dumb, like, a straight-out survival Rust clone, because that would be dumb and bad and terrible.
This is a make or break point for them. They've lost a lot of goodwill with Fallout 4, especially Fallout 4.
Yeah,
like, they need to knock it out of the park this time. And if they pull a Capcom, they're gonna start getting Capcom levels of mocked, and hopefully another competitor a la Arc System Works steps up and kicks them in the teeth and says, "You need to put out good products. Get a Monster Hunter equivalent right now."
Fallout 4 itself, it's not a bad game in and of itself. It's just got a lot of really dumb decisions in it.
Just one of the core elements of it. Yeah, just one of the core elements of an RPG. The narrative is completely terrible.
Yes, it's awful and makes no sense. They had the building mechanic, which could have been great, but they did nothing with it.
Made any difference or meant anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was an extra thing. I find that inoffensive. It's just the narrative in a single-player game, and all the sub-narratives were terrible. There were a few side quests I thought weren't that bad, but for the most part, they were all terrible.
Yeah, that's actually the thing with Bethesda games, is that their A material, their primary stories, especially for the last few games since Morrowind, have been awful. But their B material is great.
But even then they had like the Thieves Guild in Skyrim that was still a fairly good story for the time.
Yep. In 2011. Dark Brotherhood was better.
I don't. Yep. I think almost everybody that I've talked to has said that they think that the Oblivion, Dark Brotherhood, and Thieves Guild were both better, simply because the Skyrim ones, like particularly if you look at the Thieves Guild one in particular, it doesn't have anything to do with stealing stuff.
No, like, it doesn't.
It's you doing weird cultist crap.
But yeah, I'll agree the Oblivion ones are better. I'm just saying that they had something that you could enjoy there.
Well, yeah, because I think but the standout there though is not that those were good. The standout there is how bad the core story was.
Yeah, I actually played through the core story of Skyrim the other day. Aside from the fact that it was completely broken,
instead of responding to us while we were trying to get your attention to play video games with us.
Oh, it was like, do it 5 minutes at a time. It was abusively short. And actually when I was actually, at the keyboard, I spent more time actually fixing the game so I could play to the end of the story than actually playing it.
It's only like 4.5 hours, isn't it?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, if you can just run through the whole lot because you're leveled for it, then it doesn't take very long at all.
Yeah.
Unless you get lost, which I often do.
Yeah. But that said, I've also dabbled briefly with fan-made content, some of those big story mods out there, and they are really good compared to what Bethesda's done in their primary story, which was really bad.
Yeah, dump a few super boss mods in that game and some fan-made story content, you're good to go.
And that's where Bethesda games, I think, really shine, is the modding community.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we're not talking about whether or not the modding community is good. We're talking about whether or not Bethesda is stupid, and we know that they're stupid.
Because they still want to try and push Creation Club, yes.
Well, you watch this Fallout 74 is going to be like Fallout Shelter 2 or something.
Oh, that's the worst case scenario, I think.
Like, the Bethesda are dumb. They don't understand. Or even if they do understand, it might not matter because the corporate types have decided things have to go in a certain way. Like that is the closest that I can get to charitable to the intelligence of these people who have continued this bandwagoning train on and on and on for so many genres, is that there are people above them who do not understand and force them to do their best with what they're given.
Mm-hmm. We've seen so many really good games in the past be ruined by corporate meddling. Because they just
But I'm not talking about meddling with an extant game. I'm talking about meddling with the fundamental premise that you shouldn't just attempt to copy somebody else or attempt to hedge out people because you feel paranoid about the amount of power they'd have if you gave them modding tools and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, because modding has never made money in the direct sense that can be discriminated on a balance sheet, modding may as well not exist to the people who do the funding.
Yeah,
because people buy a game because of modding, but those purchases don't show up as different to buying the base game.
Nope. They're just a sale.
This is why the best business practices always come from CEOs that just have come out of the ground level of a company, putting the thing together and seeing what the fans are doing when it comes to video games. That's when you always get the best ones while they still remember, before they forget and become super duper corporate business suit and tie exclusive people that just want to sit in their cushy office. While they still remember what goes on the ground and still have some context for decisions made, that's when you get the best decisions, but then people forget.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And then they lose money and a new company makes better games instead, and you buy those until they do the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the cycle of life, really.
So, yeah, we'll wait and see. Hopefully, best case scenario, I think, is, the New Vegas treatment, even though it's not Obsidian doing it. Where they've taken what they had with the previous game and learned from it and put out basically a completely improved version. That's
for a lot of people, them's fighting words.
Them's is fighting words.
I don't know because I only played New Vegas. I didn't play the original.
Yeah,
and I didn't play either of them very much because, as it turns out, I just hate Fallout. Period.
Fair enough.
Be glad you didn't play the 360 version of Fallout New Vegas. My experience with that while Octo and Hordak was talking about it was not very good.
No, it was buggy as all get out.
The 360 version was notoriously the worst.
Oh yeah,
of all of them.
Yeah, honestly, I think half of the problems with Bethesda's bugginess is their engine. They just they can't keep using Creation. Or Gamebryo.
Whoever designed that thing, and its predecessor, has no idea how unit collision works.
No.
Like, they need to get a new guy.
They need a new engine.
Almost every problem with the Creation engine can be traced back to unit collision. Just how do units interact with the terrain and with each other?
I think how they interact within themselves is also a problem half the time. If anything with a skeleton that it animates through itself will end up generating a mountain of errors.
Oh my yes. Not to mention watching a ragdoll being slowly devoured by the floor.
Yeah.
Well, it's also like that most of the fan content has the fans have generated their own fundamental code for animating things that replaces the stuff that is in the Bethesda game.
Oh yeah,
because using something homebrewed is just better than using their crap.
Well, yeah, the very first thing you do when you start modding any Bethesda game is you download the script extender, you download the animation tools and plug those in, and then you start modding.
And then the default stuff is garbage. It generates a huge pile of garbage. It's not good. It's just not. And they've been simultaneously leaning on the games community to basically do their jobs for them, and basically taking them for granted at the same time. So
yeah. So yeah,
what that comes down to is that I really do think, as I said, we're looking at just how dumb are they, not really how. It's not really about how good they can be so much as are they trying to be good or not?
Yeah,
because it's hard to tell.
Yeah,
it really is. I don't really understand what's going on in a lot of these companies.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll wait and see. I'm going to reserve any sort of judgment until we know actually what the game is. I don't believe they're going to do something, like EA levels of dumb. But we shall see.
What, loot boxes? Loot boxes and Fallout is what we need.
No.
Make everything we know.
Could you imagine the screaming?
It depends on whether we're talking about the cultists or whether we're talking about, people who actually want their games to be any good.
Both.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, just don't get caught in the internet.
Yeah. So next topic, I guess I can dig this up. Although I do have, or we still have more to talk about with Fallout.
No, go for it.
I don't.
Yeah, because we're going in circles with that. So this isn't in our list, but it's something I stuck my head in this week, and I remembered what it was finally. And it can be pseudo news, so we can talk about it here. So, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night is a Kickstarter that went off about 2.5 years ago. Is when it first showed up,
right?
And I forget the name of the guy in charge of it, but basically, one of the backer Kickstarter rewards was a prequel NES game that would come out a few months before the launch of the game, and they kept that promise, and we got that NES game, and that's Bloodstained: Curse of the Moon. And this is effectively Castlevania 3, but better in every way. So it loses points because Medusa heads are still there. So I've actually downloaded this game and tried it. And this was the other thing I was going to talk about for my week, but we'll move it to news. And it's surprisingly very good. Like, this gives me a lot of hope for the Kickstarter and the project of Ritual of the Night, which is going to be more in the line of Symphony, or not Ritual of the Night. Yeah, Ritual of the Night. I forget the names. But this gives me hope that the game's actually going to be good, which is going to be more along the lines of Symphony of the Night, which is more the Metroid style, explore the everything type of Castlevania game. And Curse of the Moon was the NES prequel done more in the vein of the NES games. But yeah, it's really good. It is Castlevania 3. Like, you beat a level, so you can switch to on the fly. They all have unique strengths and weaknesses. They each have unique sub-weapons. And yeah, I've actually been really impressed with it. Even the bosses are really good. There's like 9 levels and a secret bonus level if you beat the game on Super Duper Hard mode.
Okay.
And yeah, it's been really interesting. The bosses especially are a big standout because they just are big, bombastic, fun bosses in them for a 2D side-scroller.
Oh, and they have
No, yeah. We okay now?
Yep, we're okay now. Go for it.
Okay. And their unique mechanic for these bosses to make this game different is every boss has some desperation move that'll do like half your health and damage they do when their health gets low that you have to react to very quickly. So like the first boss is a choo-choo train, and he's pulling like gravel towards him to munch up to fuel his fire attacks. You're fighting on the back of the train. So you're fighting like the engine of the train, but it's like a mech. You have to see it to kind of get what I'm talking about. But normally you have to jump up on that gravel he's pulling towards himself to attack his head.
Are you sure it's not coal?
Yeah, it's coal, probably.
As far as I'm aware, trains don't run on gravel.
I'm just going by what the first word I thought of when I saw the ground up little pieces of rocking around. So it's hard to tell with NES graphics. So I just said gravel because that's what it looked like. But yes, it's probably supposed to be coal. But normally you jump up on top of the coal stacks and you hit his head as he munches it, as he starts munching on it, and eventually he'll pull it too close or you'll wind up touching his head and take damage. And at the very end of the boss fight, instead of doing his normal fire attacks, he pulls the gravel or the coal halfway towards him, and he charges a Kamehameha beam, and you have to hide behind it, which you've never had to do the rest of the fight, or you'll get hit by a giant Kamehameha laser beam that'll just one-shot you. And all the bosses have a unique, like, super-duper finishing move like that, and it's really cool. And it makes the end of the bosses seem really big and bombastic. And I enjoy that in 2D side-scroller bosses.
Neat.
So yeah, it shows that this is probably a project that will turn out okay, which I'm happy for. This will make it 3 out of 3 of the Kickstarters I was looking forward to, where they all turned out good.
Instead of being half-assed.
Yep. I'm only 2 levels in. I haven't had much time to play, but that is one I've been casually mentioning on the show once in a while, so I figured I would mention it. The pre-release NES game is very good. It's only like $10-15 for about probably what's going to turn into about a 7-hour experience, and it's a pretty high-quality experience at that. So yeah, you might want to look at that and check that out.
Why is it worrying? Or actually, it's not really worrying. Why is it that the exception to the rule is that a Kickstarter game is actually good?
It's just
because the principle is fundamentally flawed. Because allows funding without genuine answerability. Like, as much as they like to talk about how they're answerable to the backers, none of them act as though that's true.
None of them certainly listen. Mighty number 9.
Let's say that you're answerable to the backers, and you are saying that in all sincerity you do want to be answerable to the backers because you feel that strongly about it. How does that manifest in practical terms? Like, let's say you do a crappy job and you're calling yourself answerable to the backers. What are you going to do? What are they going to do?
Yeah, you fulfilled your promises.
So the best case scenario is in that situation is the same as the worst case scenario, and where you get nothing or a terrible game. Like, there's not really any. There's no way to actually graft any sort of genuine accountability in there, because they won't get fired by you or anything like that. You don't actually have any power. You just gave them money. That's all. Money, no strings attached. Realistically, unless there's like some massive class action lawsuit that totally changes the landscape somehow, and I can't imagine how that could actually work, then this is always going to be the way it is. Kickstarter projects can be assumed to slightly turn out badly, simply because there is no penalty for it turning out badly.
Yeah.
There aren't that many people who are genuinely so in love with their work and simultaneously good at it that you don't need to have some sort of penalty around if they just decide to slack off and do anything.
Yeah.
We all know the real reason this particular one turned out good is because of my dumb luck. Were the 3 I supported, of course, the only good Kickstarters.
Yeah, that's probably good part of it. All right. What else?
Link to the game or page is in the show chat.
Yeah, it's something good. We can support it because it's good.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah.
What do we have next? We know what the next Assassin's Creed is going to be.
Yeah.
I'm so
Assassin's Creed Greece.
Yeah, it's going to be faffing around in the Aegean by the look of it. So
Kratos killed everything there. That's what Dad of War told me.
I wonder how they're going to vandalize history this time.
I dread to think.
The last one was pretty egregious, like actually putting stuff in the game saying that actual history was misogynistic, so we're going to depict history like this instead. Like, that's pretty egregious.
That's not how history works.
Even before then, I've had people actually reference Assassin's Creed as historical fact. Like,
no.
Like, I'll be talking about history with somebody, and I'll ask where the heck they heard that. And they're like, well, Assassin's Creed did that. I'm like, that's wrong. I forgot exactly what the example was, but it was bad.
Probably anything to do with Leonardo da Vinci.
It was. I think it was the Crusades.
Da Vinci was definitely a woman.
Da Vinci was, well, yeah.
Yeah.
FGO told me this.
FGO told me this.
It's a reliable historical source, at least as reliable as Assassin's Creed.
Let's be fair, FGO's history is probably a bit more accurate in terms
I only say that because there's that comic where Mash is writing a fan letter to the dev saying that her history grades have improved because of FGO.
Yeah.
I gotta question the history teacher in that case.
Yeah, they just got all the genders wrong, that's all.
And 5 emperors existing at the same time or something like that.
Oh no, that
I got a critical boost, Joel.
Nice. Something worthwhile. They exist.
That's really good. Congrats. I need one of those badly.
Yeah. So
Keep in mind that I'm not actually trying to build a DPS build. I'm trying to build a defensive resilience build. So it's actually not helpful.
So this is the trick.
One of the most rare and desirable ones in the game, but I don't want it.
Yeah.
Take what you can get, dog. You may want it one day.
Yeah. So I think this is the trick: is you just need to not want it at the time.
Yeah, I need to develop a furious distaste for all the servants that I want.
That's the one.
FGO.
You really, really hate Ilya. Just remember that.
Need to be thoroughly revolted.
This is a known fact with luck. The less you care, the better your luck will be.
Yeah.
No, I'm not willing to settle for that. I want to be genuinely offended. Like, genuinely offended if I get what I want.
That's why I think I did so well on the gacha this week, is I was indifferent at best.
That's why I pulled Jalter on my second card of the 10 pull.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't care at the time at all. I had no desire to play the game at all.
I'm still pretty sure that you're actually siphoning my luck off somehow, and I just haven't worked out how yet.
Look for some mad science machine in your house.
Me and Lady Luck have just had a good relationship for a while.
You know she's only waiting so she can really ruin you later on, don't you?
Oh, that was part of the contract, yeah.
Yeah, that's just how Lady Luck works.
Yeah, we are both aware, and it was a mutually agreed upon contract. There will be horrible spurts of bad luck that happen quickly and in bursts, and the rest of it's pretty good luck the rest of the time.
Yeah, reasonable luck, at the best.
A rank luck, not A+, but A rank.
Okay, so yeah, that's the next Assassin's Creed. They're going to ruin Greek mythology, and not in the way that Kratos ruined it either.
And what this really shows is that I was my grand wisdom dispensed via the show was ignored, and that they haven't decided to put the series to rest for a while. Like, I don't know how well Assassin's Creed faffing about in Egypt sold, but
it did all right.
Surely people are starting to tire of this.
Nah. I guess. Can we not do Assassin's Creed for a while, please? Please.
They need to come up with some new ideas, because realistically they're all the same game.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of difference. The exception probably being Black Flag, and that's only because you've got pirate shanties.
Yeah, and that's the one that people actually like.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, but that's because of a game mechanic that is isolated from the story that has nothing to do with anything, that just happened to turn out really good.
Yar har fiddly-dee.
Being a pirate is alright with me. Although it is on the bottom of my stack of PlayStation 4 games.
I might check it out eventually when I've got nothing else I really want to play. Or I'm just really feeling like a pirate game.
If it hits like $10 or something, I'd scoop it, but I wouldn't go out of your way to play it.
Yeah.
It's good, but it's not that good compared to some of the stuff we got in 2017 that you definitely need to take a look at.
Oh my, yes.
Yeah, 2017 has happened, so anything previous to then have you played the 2017 stuff yet?
Go play that.
Yeah.
There is a lot of good stuff that came out last year.
Yeah, that was a very good year for video games.
So very good. Alright, what's our next article? We're running at the low end of the list here.
Yeah, because nobody wants to announce anything the week before E3. Come on.
Yeah, Nintendo's announced a bunch of stuff, but it's really just inconsequential fluff for the most part.
Well, you say that, but everybody's talking about it.
Because there's nothing else to talk about.
The Pokemon...
No, it's because it's Pokemon. It's got Nintendo magic.
Oh, yes.
And it's got Eevee in it. It looks adorable.
It does. It looks nauseatingly adorable.
The Eevee line is my favorite Pikachu.
9 for 10 is going to be a pile of crap.
Probably.
Nah.
But it appears to have something that resembles a battle system going on with these games.
Yeah, which is designed to be operable by tapping.
Yeah, it's a mobile game.
On a Switch.
On the Switch. Incidentally, there's also the mobile game, which is a mobile game.
And it also has, like, the Pokemon Go throw the ball mechanic.
Yeah, stop that. Alright. So, we have the June PlayStation Plus lineup. We also have the Xbox One, but nobody cares about Xbox One.
Does anybody even own one?
It has a Pokeball controller.
What? Oh, right, yes. This new game, it's
gonna be so cringy though, because it's gonna be like adults wandering around throwing Pokeballs at things.
We weren't already doing with that. That's what Pokemon Go is.
If
but you can't see them doing it.
if I saw an adult with that Pokeball having a good time, I would start a conversation with them. They're probably a cool dude.
Yeah.
And if they're under 200 pounds, they're probably a cool dude. Let me make an addendum to that. If they don't have the ability to take care of themselves, I wouldn't start a conversation with them. But if they do, they're holding a Pokeball, you know?
As a dude, what are you doing?
I'll talk to that dude.
What is that, and what are you doing?
Yeah, the amount of just good, fun conversations I've had with people on the street yelling "Pikaman" whenever I see Pokemon Go is amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
It brings people together in that way.
It is a good game for that.
Pokemon Go.
Yeah. So, okay. PlayStation Plus games. For the PS4, we have XCOM 2. Which is really good.
That. I've been wanting to play that, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I didn't like the first... Well, okay, I liked the first one enough, but it really annoyed me.
I did not like certain mechanics in the first one.
Yeah. I do not like how the aliens, for some bizarre reason, would randomly become clairvoyant and shoot you through walls.
Yeah, that was a bad one. I thought that their pacing in the story with where the alien spawn was a little too restrictive.
Yeah.
Some of the ways you had to upgrade your troops were a little not fun.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
And
I do like, however, naming all my troops after people I know, and having like Fall and Pym die.
I did that for a while, but every time I named a character, they would immediately die in the next mission.
Actually, I think Pym lived to the end of my XCOM run.
Heh.
I don't remember if you made it. Fern Vol died. I remember that.
I don't think I did from memory, but that was a long time ago. So, yeah, that's a good, really, really good game. You should totally play it.
After the patch.
Like,
when that game first came out, it was a nightmare from what I read. Like,
yeah.
You could not get me to play that game at all. I would rather jam needles up my fingers.
Eee. That's incredibly unpleasant.
Bamboo shoots up the fingernails before I played that original release of that game. It was not fun looking. It had some really bad mechanics. I forget exactly what they were, but I remember being so turned off by them, I just completely stopped following the game.
Yep. The other game of note is Trials Fusion, which is Ubisoft, and I've got it on Steam, but...
And requires you play even on the PS4.
Yeah! Why?
How did they even, why would they go out of their way to create a client for the PS4?
They did it for the Wii U.
It's not even a real client. It's just a part of the user interface requires you to sign into Uplay.
Yeah.
So dumb and bad.
Yeah. They actually made a full client of Uplay for the Wii U because reasons.
Because Uplay, and Uplay's terrible, and everything associated with Uplay is terrible.
So you're saying Uplay ruined the Wii U?
Yeah.
Sounds legit.
Much. This seems like another conspiracy theory we can on the list that sounds plausible.
I don't think the Wii U needed anybody to help it fail.
Uplay does not help anything it touches.
No. But other than that, aside from, Uplay, Trials is fun.
Trials is a great game. It's the best Ubisoft game that I've played in a long time. It's just a mechanically solid game once you get past the awkwardness of the controls.
And Uplay.
It's a lot of fun. And Uplay.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you get it down, learning to pull the tricks off, it's just a lot of fun. I don't have that much fun controlling a unit in a game ever, except in Trials. It's just so much fun to learn how to properly control that thing. And when you finish a really hard track, there's a huge sense of accomplishment. And Volitzel watches me for 3 hours fail at a really hard track.
And laughs the entire time.
Well, I get to see you basically suffer horrible, horrible fates over and over again.
Yes.
What's not to love?
But I succeeded at the end.
Yep.
I didn't have to see that, so it was fine.
Yeah, so Trials Fusion. It's Trials with neon attached to it or something, if I recall.
It's Trials. It's set in a semi-futuristic setting this time, but it's got your classic dirt levels and stuff. And the fan track community, I'm sure, has gone hog wild, made a ton of fun tracks.
Oh my, yeah.
So
yeah,
the track makers in those games are really robust for even stuff that's just in engine. So
yeah,
you get some really, really creative and fun stuff with the physics engine going on.
Some of it is just completely bonkers.
Yeah, I remember Trials Evolution and played that game to death and played it with Fuzzy and Abo and a few other people.
Mm-hmm.
Did you play with us back when we were doing Trials Evolution?
I played with someone at Trials and Evolution. It might have been you guys. I can't remember. It was a while ago.
It was a lot of fun. I really like the Trials games.
Yeah. So if it's on the PlayStation, because it doesn't involve, additionally installing Uplay and messing around with it and hoping it doesn't break my computer for arbitrary reasons.
You just have to sign up on the PlayStation 4. It's not that bad. If you already have an account, you can just log in.
Yeah. So I will probably play some of that.
Yeah, we can play together.
Yeah. And we can fail horribly together.
Vol, you need to stay away from this game. This game will rustle your jimmies way too much.
I don't like platforming to begin with.
It's, yeah, you just...
A platformer which is like, the platforming is the whole point and nothing but
and you're on a motorbike.
No. Yeah, on a motorbike. No, thank you. No,
thank you. All right.
I'd rather just, spend the evening chucking balled up paper in a rubbish bin.
Yeah.
It's more fun.
Your frustration levels could not take this game.
Yeah. So, for PlayStation 3, you get Zombie Driver HD.
They're still doing PlayStation 3 games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to stop that.
No, I thought they were Vita.
Yeah, they stopped making... Well, no, actually, there's still Vita games. They haven't really stopped them yet.
Well, that's coming, though. That got announced.
Yeah. So, yeah, Zombie...
I don't know about PlayStation 3. They might have announced that.
Yep. You'll also get, for the PlayStation 3, Tom Clancy's Ghost Future Recon Future Soldier, because long names are fun. Ha 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 ha.
So, a AA game and some game I've never heard of.
It's... Good grief. How many Ghost Recon games are we up to now? How many Tom Clancy games are we up to now?
Tom Clancy Ghost Recon is a series where like every other entry, I hear people praising it, and every other entry that are not the good ones are just the most awful mess of all time.
Yeah. They tend to run the gamut.
It's the sort of game that really lends itself strongly to that sort of variation, though, because it's such a janky concept, and it's one of those ones that is... fortunately or unfortunately never been popular enough for everybody to bandwagon onto.
Yep. So for the Vita, you get the booby prizes. Yeah. You get Atomic Ninjas, which is some sort of deathmatch capture the flag type dealie. Except ninjas with jetpacks.
Yeah, on the Vita, so that's not happening. And Firmines.
Firmines,
sure
yeah.
Firmines.
Something like that.
I assume it's furries stepping on mines.
That sounds like a good time, actually. Yeah. Some sort of...
Don't know what that is.
Some sort of boring puzzle game. No, actually, that's current month. You're looking at a month behind. You get Squares, which is a game where you turn squares.
The most inspiring name ever.
Yes. You turn... The whole idea of the game is to turn some squares blue.
Can't you just, run your defragger for that?
You could. And then sometimes they turn orange.
That doesn't sound very good.
It's when they turn red that you got problems.
Mm-hmm.
That's the old Windows 95 defragger too. It's good grief. That thing was huge. And took forever. So yeah, if you've got a Vita, you get nothing of note. So, yeah.
No Muramasas this time.
No Muramasas. No... Hell, they can make it really good. Give out Persona 4 to everyone.
That would be like the greatest Sony Away present for the last...
For the last Vita one, do that.
Yeah, just give them that.
Give them a game that is the entire reason to own a Vita. On its own. So...
For the mainstream.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, they ain't gonna do that.
Oh, dear. So, yeah, the good games for PS4, mediocre for the PS3, and just downright bad for the Vita.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, all around, fairly average, but I think I probably will stick my face into Trials, because Trials is stupid. And fun. And stupid fun.
I love Trials.
Alright, any other articles we got? Or I think we're about done.
There was the Killer 7 thing, but I don't know what's going on with that. Y'all just listed it.
Yeah.
Well, I was just an idle comment that I made to Fern. He seemed to think it was worth mentioning.
Yeah.
Apparently, people like that game a lot, except it's been basically impossible to get a hold of.
Never finished it.
Nope.
Not for any particular
never
reason.
played it for very long myself. So
I think I just got distracted at the time, so yeah, I don't have anything to say on it.
Yep, it's just a high-definition version of Killer 7 coming to Steam, because everyone needs more Suda51 in their life.
I think it's kind of lousy how incredibly poorly Bless is doing.
Yeah. I haven't played it yet, but playing it seems like a bad idea.
There's a good reason why you would. So Bless is the latest in a long line of Korean MMOs that is being localized for the Western market, and apparently it's on Steam at the moment.
Yes, it is.
It has been ground zero for refunds lately.
Yeah, so oh boy, they want this game to well, basically it's a buy-in MMO. That whole chestnut again.
Yeah, the classic model.
Yep. Ignoring the fact that really it's outside of Korean MMOs and Korea in general in the West, there's really only been one MMO that's actually done it properly. And that's Guild Wars. Let me find how much they're actually charging for it. It's not in the top 10 sales, by the way. It's sunk right down.
Oh, well, I'd be surprised if it ever was. I mean, I expect that it probably did have its moment in the sun, but it would be just a moment. But generally speaking, this game you can think of it as a WoW clone.
Yep. Well, it's not even in the top 25 anymore. It's actually dropping down the charts as we talk.
And the game is basically riddled with problems of every sort you could possibly imagine.
Mm-hmm.
It is really not having a good time at all. They've had all sorts of issues with duplication bugs and so forth, and so there are people demanding rollbacks, and most people have already hit max level, but it turns out that they didn't actually localize the end game.
Yeah. So look, loot boxes.
It's being held back. It's being held back for later content patches, and basically the entire thing has turned into a mess because there's no game there. You level up and then there's no game there.
Yeah. They want $30 for the base edition, and then there's increasingly fluffy versions, I guess, after that.
Yeah. This involved me opening up Steam to try and get more info on it, and I've stumbled across the worst game ever.
Oh?
That's a total tangent. Like, another TV and Art VN, Gay Nation, a gay game for gays only.
That sounds more like a parody than anything else.
In a world where everyone is gay, take on the role of Andrew, an elite gay soldier who hunts down any remaining straights from Dank Boy Games.
Yeah, B-O-Y. That sounds like a meme fest.
It sounds like it's going to be the next big pointless argument as well.
Also that.
This is why I don't go on Steam anymore.
Steam, curate your market.
I posted it in live show chat. Okay, that was a tangent, but yes, I felt that needed to be said.
Oh boy.
I'm not sure how you came to that conclusion, but all right.
I was just so shell-shocked by it, I didn't actually hear what y'all said for about 2 minutes.
So yeah, Bless. It actually had a fair bit of hype behind it too, and because there was people looking to, because the game looks pretty, as a lot of these Korean MMOs do.
Yeah, they do their art right. I mean,
yep. Terror. You need an adult, but it's very pretty.
Basically, it's not that Bless doesn't have an end game; it's that it didn't get localized. Like the other versions of the game, the end game's intact. It's just not there at all. Like the arenas aren't there, the battlegrounds aren't there, the PvP ranking system aren't there, hard mode dungeons aren't there, daily dungeons aren't there, honor point system isn't there. Like these are core fundamental game features because this is a relatively PvP heavy MMO.
Mm-hmm.
These are core features that are just absent.
It's a PvP MMO without the PvP in it.
Yeah, there's just like the game is not done. There's a big chunk missing. The thing is that this was being in beta for years.
Yes.
Like, I don't know what sort of crazy mismanagement they engaged in, but it has taken a very long time for this thing to hit live, and it is now a mess. So, yeah, it's sort of like darkly amusing watching everything fall apart for them.
All right. Anything else? I think we're actually done on that one.
Yep.
If you want something good on Steam, the Infinity Collection with Baldur's Gate and Planescape Eternal Torment, all of the X packs for Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 and Baldur's Gate 2 is on sale for like $15.
Oh, do that. Definitely get that. Yeah. Both great games.
I scooped it live on show. That's something I was interested in.
Well, that's a net gain, or net balance, I suppose, for us. We've refunded one game and we've scooped a new one. Excellent.
Yes, I suppose. I think I spent that money I got refunding Lords of the Fallen on manipulating the Steam market back when it was playable. It's not very playable right now. We need another event that makes it playable.
Something full of trading cards, you mean? And, actual things that people might pretend to want.
Yeah, you can't manipulate the Steam market in general, but you can manipulate sub-markets in it.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap up, shall we?
Alrighty.
Oh, MapleStory released a mobile version.
They did, and then they immediately took it down again.
Really?
Yeah, they released just Pocket Mobile. Sorry, what was it called? MapleStory Pocket version or Pocket Edition, which is basically just mobile MapleStory on the mobile. It was more or less a direct port over. And I fiddled with it at one point, way back when that first happened, and it was okay. It transitioned reasonably well. And then it was just gone.
This is MapleStory M.
I heard about that.
Supposedly accessible only to Canada and Australia.
Really? Where's my tablet?
Because of reasons. Yeah.
Okay, let me have a look here. This might be content for next week. Let's see, PlayStation Store. Wrong device. MapleStory M. They're also actually in the beta for MapleStory 2, by the way.
Because what we need is another game where your ability to do scripting determines how successful you are.
Yes. Yeah, I can install it. What does this actually look like? It looks like MapleStory. Okay.
What you expected.
Well, it could be anything, because you know how this mobile market works. It could be the base game. It could be something completely arbitrary. It could have absolutely nothing to do with it and just wear the badge. So, yep. Alright, I'll take a look-see at this. It does look like it's actually got unique characters for this version, so that's something. New characters, new classes.
Could just be stuff that's been added into the game later.
Possibly.
Nobody's played MapleStory for like 50 years.
I think I saw Sleep playing it a while ago.
Yeah, he's like the only person I know that semi-regularly plays it.
Yeah.
Does he play it, or does he have a bot to play it for him?
I don't know. I think he actually plays it, but he plays it like once a year.
Yeah. Alright, so I'll check that out for next week's game. So, next week, we have the start of the E3 circus.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's sort of like a sad has-been circus with nothing in it.
Well, yeah, considering everything is happening outside the circus itself, on the road, or in the parking lot. In one case, quite...
Road, or the building down the street.
Yeah, one case actually, several cases actually, quite literally. So, yeah, the event's again pretty much over before the main event actually starts.
So we'll have some stuff to talk about next week.
We will, of course.
Devil May Cry.
No.
Come on, Devil May Cry.
Well, yeah, okay. Much as I'd love to see New Devil May Cry, we won't have it for next week.
We won't have it for next week, but...
Next week we have EA pretending they've actually learned something and revealing that they've learned absolutely nothing.
Part of me just wants to see what would happen if they announced another DMC Devil May Cry.
I'm going to go tie up some people and have a stern talking to.
I think you'll have to get in line for that one.
I have to get there before they kill them. The rest of the fans might actually hurt them.
Yeah, they might. So, yeah. That's an understatement, I suppose we could say, if that happens. Let's hope they don't do that, because that would be terrible.
That would be it.
That would be it.
I would be done with Capcom. I wouldn't even play Monster Hunter anymore.
Yeah, don't do that.
your Jimmies would be wrestling furiously.
They would.
They would be completely rustled. So
that would be the rustliest.
The rustliest, eh?
Yep.
All right, well, let's get out of here, shall we?
Closing comments, go.
I guess I need to play Maple Story.
Nope.
I didn't mind my initial playthrough of Maple Story a few years ago, or play with. But it's because, okay, I've learned these skills, I've gotten these abilities, and I've learned how to play the game. Now what? Now you go do the same thing.
You've got a piece of software to do it for you.
Yeah, you go do the same thing ad infinitum. Enjoy.
No, you don't. Your bot does.
Yeah, if I had a bot. Or
of mobile
you can pay to win.
Games, the mobile version of Terra in Korea now has Ellen Ninjas.
Of course it does.
Because obviously.
Yeah.
I like my Ellen, but I don't feel safe in that game as my Ellen. I
Need
feel like people
adult.
I need you guys to play with me if I ever log back on that game.
No, you actually need an actual adult.
Your Ellen needs to be accompanied by an adult in-game.
Yes.
Yeah, I need one of you to. I need Fern's big Rocky Man to protect me.
My dragon with nothing to declare.
Yeah, you and your
and lack
chat.
of pants. Yes.
That's still better than general chat. You need to keep me safe.
Yeah, actually, my last character I played was my big rocky priest lady, who used to be Fabulous Freddie Mercury. I'm not kidding. My just by complete accident, my I can't remember what the class is called now. My healer, anyway, ended up looking like Freddie Mercury run through the Fabulous Bishonen filter, except without the mustache.
Like Freddie Mercury does not fit Fabulous Bishonen. I'm sorry, it doesn't make any sense.
No, it does not, and it was really scary. Well, I suppose it's better than my rape face aura.
Although, to be fair, my image of Freddie Mercury is pretty heavily influenced by the Cromartie High anime.
All right.
This is going horrible places. Let's wrap up.
All right. Email topic of the week. What do you think of E3 next week? What are you looking forward to? What are you not looking forward to? What do you think is going to be now? Stuff like that.
All aboard the disappointment train.
Yep.
Also, Dead Rising. Not Dead Rising. Dead Standing.
Oh, okay.
It's Stranding.
Oh, whatever. It's Kojima being weird.
Third time's the charm.
He wants to make movies, but nobody would watch them because they would be too long and boring.
I think he at this point just wants to eat babies.
We don't know.
You don't know that's not Guillermo del Toro who wants to eat babies. I mean, he's pretty big.
True. Take us out.
Right, we'll see. We'll see y'all next week. Sayonara. Bye bye.